All right, guys. All right. We're gonna be basically just reacting to Andrew Wilson's and Coach Greg Adams. They have a very interesting back and forward. I think it was 2 days ago regarding whether or not marriage is worth it. Interesting ending. Not, you can disagree or agree with some of the prescriptions. I think they both admit that there's some problems with today's marriage and how it's handled in our government today. With that, with that being said, guys, we're gonna simply jump in and see what's going on. Let's go.
He might have to go on his end and hit the go live on YouTube.
On his end?
I am sending it out through his YouTube's.
I don't have a computer.
Oh, do you want this one? You want to log in here?
Yeah.
I'll log out. Do you know your login?
Good luck.
I'm gonna hack you later.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes
wherever they created that stream key, there usually is there's a button in there that you have to say like actually go live. I am broadcasting it to them.
Okay.
But they might need to hit the go live button on their end.
What's up? The Charlie Kirk incident.
Shit. If not, we could do it off Andrews. This debate going, just figuring out something real quick.
Okay, let's get it done, bro.
He's calling you out.
Yeah.
Experience tremendous damage.
Let's get this thing going.
Okay, let's go.
I'll kick it off.
Come
You
on
guys
now.
ready?
Yep.
All right.
Come on now.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, guys, finally getting started. Thanks for being patient. I know there was some delays. We got Andrew here versus Coach Greg Adams, aka the Free Agent Lifestyle. We're going to talk about today, is marriage worth it for men in the West? So let's get into some opening statements. Who wants to start off?
Yeah, man, marriage is a great institution. It was an institution that built the community of America. Most of the better communities that have safety, good children, good schools are typically centered around marriage. However, marriage has not progressed to the point where men could be safe legally, and a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are not positioned to benefit both people in a divorce. Therefore, you have no fault divorce. You have opportunities for women to use the courts against men. And as a result, men have seen 1, 2, and 3 generations of men getting harmed, their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers getting harmed by this. So Generation Z men are not positioning themselves for a positive marriage. So at this particular point, if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position in life, they weren't established, I would say no. There's no benefit for the person to get married today.
Got it. Your response, Andrew?
Yeah, I didn't hear any anti-marriage arguments. I heard anti-divorce arguments. So I'm with you on divorce, 100%.
Stream over.
And
But you agree.
But it's a good thing that the topic isn't on divorce, it's on marriage. And it seems like you agree with my proposition then. And the proposition is that marriage, quote, is a great institution.
Yep.
And that right now your concern is that men can't be safe in marriage, but that's not actually what you're saying. You're not saying men can't be safe in marriage. They can. You're saying that they may not be safe in divorce. So I have a counter proposition for you. My counter proposition is, what if it's the case that you can use religious marriage institutions without the state? And then we add the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage. That's what always kept them together anyway, before the state was ever involved. So what if instead we use the ecclesiastical church, the structure of the old churches, that would be Catholicism and Orthodoxy, where you see the lowest divorce rates, because the community puts pressure on the women to act right. That's what they do. Right now, the state applies no pressure on women to act right, right? You can just go and file whatever you want, get a divorce, and go be banging the neighbor by the next night. We totally agree on that. But to say that we should abandon marriage is silly. It seems like you're completely pro-marriage. You're just anti-divorce. So why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions where the divorce rate is the least, and you have an ecclesiastical structure which can be appealed to assist with that. That's what makes no sense to me.
My response to that is if we're fifths, we beat all drunk. All right. So that's a scenario that just isn't present.
Can you explain the analogy for me?
Well, if we use if, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If we say if we have a situation where this is present, then this would work. Well, that makes sense. If we had that,
we do have it right now.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work because, and I'm going to tell you why, because a woman can go to a divorce attorney and they can simply just say, hey, listen, it was a off the cuff, off the state divorce, but you got married within a certain state, or she filed in a certain state, so therefore the divorce goes on.
No,
absolutely, yes.
Well,
listen, I've been to with the divorce attorneys, and what they'll tell you is, hey, listen, you can get married in a ritual, you can get married in the orthodoxy, you can get married off record, but if she files and that woman is hell bent on saying we got married, I don't care if it was a ceremony where we walked on coals with our feet bare. That's considered a marriage. You also have common law. You have a lot of other ways for that woman to establish marriage.
How does your way eliminate common law?
I don't have any way to eliminate common law.
So
what
then,
I have is a way for men to avoid
well, then the
being
argument's
used.
silly.
No, the argument's not silly. So here's what you have. You have a if proposition, which doesn't exist for most men. Most men aren't religious. Most men aren't looking to be under a religious orthodoxy. So it doesn't apply. So you're taking a moral standard or a religious standard to apply to people who aren't under that veil.
So let's start with a couple of things you said which are fundamentally untrue. Most men are religious, in fact, including in this country. Most of them, not some of them.
But they're not religious.
Hang on. I didn't interrupt.
I understand, but maybe just take that point. Most aren't under your religion.
Okay.
We can agree with that.
So here's the thing, though. But Catholicism and Orthodoxy is growing rapidly. And if it's the case that the ecclesiastical structure is already there, which it is, right? If you're going to cohabitate with a woman, the thing that you're offering right now is common law marriage anyway, if there's cohabitation at all. You're not protecting anybody from that. At least under my model, it gives an ecclesiastical structure that's designed to prevent divorce by applying community pressure. That was the way it was always done. Apply the application of community pressure within the confines of the woman's social circle. Right now, do you agree with me, for instance, that many divorces happen because women like to yap? So you get a freshly divorced woman, and she's free. You go, girl. Girl power. And she starts talking to her little friends. And she starts telling them how liberating it is and how great it is and this and that. And this is why when women have divorced friends, their likelihood of divorce actually rapidly increases. It's for this reason.
Divorce is contagious.
So if it's the case that this social contagion is eliminated because now we have an ecclesiastical structure, an ecclesiastical authority, which won't grant it because you get ostracized from that social group through excommunication, for instance, or not being able to participate anymore with that community, that's an application of a serious and significant social pressure, which can do the very thing you want. Bring back that great institution, absent the state, and it avoids this whole problem of common law marriage. Because if it's the case that you can be common law married anyway inside of a state, and they can get grounds for divorce on that anyway, then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them from doing that. So it sounds like we agree marriage is awesome for men. Divorce is terrible for them. So it seems like we should be attacking the divorce structure here, and it doesn't seem like you actually have anything to do that other than just avoid the thing that's great for you, because this other bad side effect could happen.
Sure, that's like smoking cigarettes.
So why don't we attack the bad side effect when we have the mechanism to do it? It's not if, we can do it now.
Okay, so like smoking cigarettes is the same analogy you're saying. Okay, here, cigarettes in this situation, we obviously know it has negative side effects, so you would avoid it. Now, here's the issue that I have with it. It sounds great on paper, but we can't travel to the land of make-believe. It sounds great. The majority of people probably wouldn't do it. And if you ask a guy, which this is an important part, they're not even prepared to even talk about that. They don't even know what divorce laws are. So you're asking them to travel to the land of make-believe under a marriage system that small percentage of people use. No one uses it today. You might have said they used it to the past. Today, that doesn't exist. So we can't travel to the land of make-believe to make marriage work for you. It might work in your...
I really don't understand that. Meaning that you're against the description of or prescription that Andrew is giving you, therefore you're just using these kind of make-believe statements. I don't know what he's saying. We need to get descriptions and prescription. That's all I'm looking in this debate.
For marriage, but it doesn't work for the greater structure.
Your argument here contradicts itself, because on the one hand you say men don't know enough about marriage, but my assumption is that your mission is to let men know about marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then I don't understand how it's the land of make believe if you can let them know about this, but I can't.
Sure.
Right.
And
So
you can offer that.
So if
You
I
can offer
am,
that.
it sounds like I'm offering a real alternative to what you're offering, and here's what you're offering. Men, marriage is great. It's a great institution. It's the best for children. These are your words. In marriage, right, men seem to thrive. Their health seems to thrive. Everything seems to thrive. You're saying, well, the problem is that divorce rates are high, and they are. However, there's a few things there that you haven't covered. One, it depends on demographic, too. For instance,
Absolutely.
if you're black, it's going to be way worse than if you're white.
Correct.
Okay? Way worse. And also socioeconomics matters, right? Demographics in general matter. So you can do a lot, actually, including prenuptial agreements. You can have a prenuptial agreement with the ecclesiastical authority without the state even involved. And it seems like that would mitigate your risk to damn near nothing.
You said if about 50 times
So did
today.
you.
Now, here's what I'm telling you.
So
I'm
did
telling you
you.
when, all right? We're already in this system. You're going outside of the system to create a scenario for me to argue
What
against.
system are you going outside of?
We're talking about marriage is typically done with the state. Almost everyone does it this way. So now
Typically is
you're
not-
hold
is
on for a
not
second. Hold on
must.
for a second. You've
Typically
moved the
doesn't mean
goalposts.
anything.
You've moved the goalposts to a scenario of if, and you're arguing
is.
from the if. No,
Is.
hold on for a second. You're arguing from the if perspective.
It is perspective.
No, listen.
It is.
Give
the
me a
is
chance to
perspective.
listen.
All right,
give
I'll
me a
give you
chance.
Go ahead.
You're arguing from a very small percentage point. Now you're saying demographics, and we can talk about that, but you're still trying to get me to argue in your cloud of if. That's the land of make believe. Most people, by far, are married to the state. Not only that, your land of make believe still exists. The prenup with the ecclesiastics, you can write whatever you want in that prenup. It only matters in the divorce. That's the reality. So I'm still dealing in reality.
So
You're
am
in
I.
the clouds. Hold on for a second. You're in the
Okay.
clouds. So let's take the demographics.
Okay.
In your scenario, it sounds like, which would be fair, your primary concern is with white people.
No, it's with
Hold
all
on for a
people.
second. You said with black people, the demographics, the chance is higher.
Yeah.
So have you discovered the ecclesiastics approach to black people married within this?
Yes.
However, their demographics, economics, which all do affect marriage, has nothing to do in the land of the clouds or the make-believe with ecclesiastics. It's all going to boil down to in the law. And there's no church reverend that's going to go into your household to make sure there's social pressure on your wife. Do you know
Yes,
any?
there- yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know?
You know, he has some points here. Coach Greg Adams has a great point. The problem is that even though we're discussing whether or not this is a good idea, the marriage, the problem is the law. It's the divorce. It's the courts. It's the way we're handling the outcome of the divorce. That's the problem.
Any that can cover all marriages. That
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, when you keep
Are we in reality here?
I'm
or are we in
trying-
the clouds?
when
I mean,
you're-
we're
when
not
you're-
we're not arguing
I was
anything
just trying-
legitimate.
I was just
this
trying
is
to-
this is in the land of make believe.
Well, when I'm allowed to respond, let me
Okay,
know.
give me a second.
Go ahead.
Let me finish this point.
Go ahead.
You're imagining. Your imagination is great, John.
You're saying the bar there aren't really any effective prescription to this. The best anybody can do is mitigate and hope or opt out. You can get everything a married man can get from that very same woman outside the marriage. Yeah, that's a great point, and that's the argument that that's what you're battling against it. Now you can really the prescriptions are easy. I disagree with you. Fix the laws. You know, fix anything that can just incentivize divorce. There'll be alimony and child support. So I will keep the no fault divorce. I'll keep that. However, you get anything, you don't get anything after the divorce. Zero. And it's gonna be 50-50 out of the bag. Unless there's some exception of abuse or whatever, or mental illness in the parents. But outside of that, you don't get anything and you get automatic 50-50.
And it would be great. You know, you would be proud of you at this particular point.
But I'm imagining all the people.
You're imagining all the people under a situation and a structure that you brought in here. All right. But the state highly governs this, and the state highly governs divorce. I'm dealing in a reality situation where I'm trying to counsel men to give information to. The best thing you've told me is that you're willing to give men the option to do this. Are they willing to all do this option? The answer is probably not, just like they're not willing to do what I'm telling them to do. However, we're both attempting, which is a good thing. It's noble. However, your situation rarely exists. Can we talk about the reality of what exists?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's take your moral religious crusade out of it and talk about the reality.
Yeah, let's
Are you
not.
willing to do that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
See, you're not willing to do that
Well,
because it's all based on your reality.
Guess what? It's a debate, and I will argue my points from my view, how I see fit. It's not for you to govern.
But what I'm not going to do is expect
not
to
my
be arguing
government.
from the land of make believe.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
not- you
All
don't-
right. So
okay, yeah,
anybody
my
have
turn. My turn.
Anybody
Relax.
have anybody have the sound effect for the television show where the train comes through, Mr. Rogers?
Let me know when
because
you-
I want to be on.
let me know
I
when you
want to be
gas
on
out.
Earth.
Yeah, but
All right,
yeah,
Let's let Andrew respond.
But yeah. So we are, Crash, I don't like the condescending tone. Let's just get to debate. I think both of you guys have a great input in the problem, and probably both of them has a different solution or prescription to the problem. So
Yeah,
let's see.
The thing is it's funny that you bring up Imagine All the People of John Lennon, which is an anti-religious song. And hilariously enough, was designed to assist with female empowerment. Isn't that hilarious? But the thing here is you keep on saying that what I'm offering is make-believe, but it's not. It's been governing the Orthodox and Catholic Church for 2,000 years, including in this country. Now, here, let me give you an example, for instance, the Amish, right? Do you know what the divorce rate is among them? It's almost non-existent, yet they're still governed by the same laws of the land that you're speaking to. So sounds like if I give a counter, if I say, look, I can give you a way, a methodology, in which you can utilize the religious ecclesiastical institution which has existed for 2,000 years and has right now the lowest divorce rates, right this second as we speak, not in make-believe land, not hundreds of years in the future, right this second, as opposed to the system you have of common law divorce, which is sky high and you can't do anything about it. That's what is true. So pointing out what is true is right now you can have a prenup. That is true. What is true is prenups are usually held up in court. That is true. What is true is that you can have a marriage outside of a state because it's a religious institution anyway. You never have to have a license with the state. It's never been necessary.
Yep.
And if you do, the only way that can be done is if it's sacramental. And if it's sacramental, it's governed now by the church. That's going to be the community the women are a part of. And so the thing is like, that sounds like a real viable solution. What's yours? More fucking degeneracy? Go out and play the field, hump a lot of chicks? How's that going to help anybody do anything? That's been the progressive mantra for 100 years. Isn't it wonderful? Your turn.
All right, we're turning back to Earth. Now, first things first, when it comes to this, back in reality, there's no God in marriage. So, Mr. Sky Daddy, God, religion, that's all great, but there's no God in marriage. At this particular point, when you go through a marriage, if one person decides to not obey the Holy Bible or whatever you're thumping, you have no basis to keep that marriage together. If she decides to leave the church and decides not to listen or excommunicate herself, she's now under the state.
Agree.
Now, when you're getting divorced, which I'm assuming you've been divorced.
Well, I mean, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
Have you been divorced?
Well, I mean,
have you been married?
Can you tell me, if you can tell me how that has any merit?
Yeah,
Give me
that's not wow. Yeah, he's trying to just go personal here. I don't think that this. When you go personal like that, I don't think it's a good idea, man.
Second,
debate.
because if you've been through one, you would know that there's no God in the divorce court, in the
I
family
see.
court. There's no God in there. No one asked you.
There is the state in there.
There is the state. So that's what we're arguing from.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when you get married. So you're telling me if, and I'm telling you, well, this is what's going to happen. Even if you took Sky Daddy into court with you, they would say, you pray to the judge.
How-
The judge is the authority in the court. So the God argument is a nice, interesting argument. And I probably am not going to stay on the conversation very long because that's your God. That's your Sky Daddy. That's your religion. I have a different religion. So who
What does that
gives you
do with
the
anything?
listen? Who gives you the authority to change the understanding, the conversation to your religion? That's your religion.
Yeah, but then you can throw that back at him, saying like, "Well, I can say that back to you. Who do you think, or where do you get into our authority, right?" So you can just throw that back at him, right? But make you think that your your weight of thought make you or give you the right. So we go to this circular argument, these arguments that never have an end. So we need to get the description and prescriptions to the problem, and just stop the the personal attacks.
Changing the conversation.
Okay, so it only works if it only works if you believe in your sky daddy. That's the only way it works, and that's the only way you're going to advise me.
We're talking about mitigating risk.
No. We're talking about, can men get into a marriage today only under your sky daddy? That's what we're assuming.
Okay.
Now, can they do it otherwise?
Yeah, you can have secular marriage.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, yeah,
Make it work.
I just did. So
Make it work.
The argument that you have is that marriage is great. It's a great institution.
We already covered this.
Well, what made it great?
We already covered this.
What made it great?
Can we go into why it would make it work for your secular? That's the question I ask you. You're asking me questions back. Go ahead and answer the question.
So if you're talking about secular marriage, there's never been any point to it.
I'm sorry?
There's never been any point to secular marriage, ever. Never. What would ever be the point of secular marriage? It's always been a religious institution. That's what made it great. Now, when you say it's a great institution, what made it great for secularists, other than the fact that Sky Daddy and God had all these enforcement arms, and those things had to be enforced socially? Like, for instance, men weren't allowed to run away. And women, right, they had to show cause for these divorces. And they had to be good causes. They had to show it for things like infidelity, right? It was all biblically governed. It was all lawfully governed by this Sky Daddy guy you like so little. But that's what made the institution great in the first place. And what you're talking about here, you're making a point that divorce is bad. And yet, I agree, divorce is bad. So what we're really talking about is how do we mitigate the risk for divorce? And we have two different methods here.
Well, the conversation is marriage good for men. That's the conversation.
But it is. We already said it's good for men. That's not even a dispute.
And now, how do we make it better since they're avoiding it? Since men or women are avoiding it.
It sounds like the thing that you think makes it bad is divorce, not marriage.
Correct.
Then we need to mitigate divorce.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point. That's a good point. What makes it bad is the divorce part. Because it seems like before the guarantee for divorce was harder. Now at this point, it seems like if you're getting married through the state, you have a highly likelihood to get that divorce. And then what happened is men lose a lot of power, because that means that the female or the woman knows that anytime soon she can just play to the system to get what she wants. So therefore, it's not even a good deal for men. So they both agreed on that. Now it's the prescription that we are having problem here. That's what it is. It's the prescription.
15 minutes in, and we are in the land of reality. You finally called up. Can you tell me how we can get to the secular marriage? I mean, I've given you a chance. So you're dragging your feet.
So again, there's never been any point to secular marriage ever.
Now listen. Marriage is for child creation. It would be great for child community and all of these things. And now listen, by the time the religious aspects got into marriage, they were chopping people's heads off and burning Bibles. So listen, I know we want to take it back to the past and act like the past was better, but there's always a negative part of the past. If you go back and you look at the English, this has all been there. People were getting their heads chopped off. The Crusaders were doing their things across countries, and they were spreading Christianity through threats and violence.
What does that have to do with anything?
Now, that's what you're trying to uplift. That's what you're trying to uphold.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
You wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
That's where you're lacking.
I have no
So
idea.
catch up. You're sitting
What
across
do
from
the
me.
Crusades have to do with divorce?
That was when your holy marriage was the best marriage that you're trying to go to. Now, listen.
In the
if we're trying to drag it back-
1950s? Were we crusading in the 1950s?
No.
What the hell are you talking about?
You talked about the institution of marriage for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Sir, do you need me to catch you up on what you're talking about?
But
You're having trouble keeping up with me.
Do you know what
You're
marriage was
having
like
trouble
50 years
keeping up
ago?
with me. You said 2,000 years ago.
Truly,
and
your
I told
intellect
you
is
2,000
dizzying.
years ago, they were chopping people's heads off.
Which has what to do with anything?
I need you to catch up with me, sir.
Okay.
If you want to take things back to the past, you have to accept everything as the past. You can't just cherry pick. Now, here's the thing. You're cherry picking. If you want to take things back to tradition, take it all the way back. Why stop at the 50s? Take it back to the 1890s.
What you're saying right now is so incoherent, I actually don't even understand
Well,
it.
that's what, listen, when you're running out of bullets,
incoherent.
when you're running out of bullets,
Well, it's
the
just
last thing you do
incoherent.
is the shame. All right,
I'm
listen,
not even trying to
are
shame you. It's
struggling?
just incoherent.
I need you to catch up with me.
Okay, catch me up.
Just say you're lacking if you can't keep it up.
It's
all right,
an
now here's the
incoherent.
problem.
It's incoherent.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
I don't know what to tell you.
Here's the problem you're having.
2,000 years ago, they were chopping heads off. Who gives a shit?
Listen,
what does that have
you
to do with
said
anything?
2,000 years ago. I'm coming up with yours. You're wholly religious. 2,000 years ago, it's been a part of
What
the
does that
institution.
have to do with this?
Exactly. Here's the problem. You're cherry picking.
Cherry picking what?
Listen.
I'm listening.
I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to
Slow
slow
me
you
way
down
down.
because I see what you're doing here. I'm going to slow you down.
Okay.
Because it's hard for you to keep up.
It is. You're
I
right.
understand.
I
I
am-
understand because you
I
haven't
am
been across. This is your
bedazzled.
toughest debate. Your audience knows this.
Oh, it's rough.
There's no God in marriage
Okay.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that? When you get to divorce, there's no God in
we
marriage.
Can't agree to that.
We need to agree to it because when you go into divorce court,
Yeah.
there's no God.
Yeah,
you
but
can't bring in your God
thought-
and your Bible. And at that
I think they're just talking over each other. The thing is that Andrew's arguing the marriage without the state, and then Coach Greg Adams is saying, no. We have right now is through the state, and when they get divorced, there's no God. God is not helping that marriage to stop the divorce. I think they both are over talking each other. I don't know whether or not this is on purpose, but this is over talking to each other.
particular point, none of your ecclesiastics marriage works.
Okay.
Period.
So the thing is, you just said, can we agree that there's no God in marriage? And then he switched.
You don't have to agree.
But hang on, calm down. And then he switched over to divorce. There's no God in divorce. But those are two different questions and proposition. Hang on, relax. The second thing is that me saying that what made marriage a great institution is this whole Sky Daddy character, and that the institution has been in place for 2,000 years, and it's
we
been.
go,
Hang
2,000
on,
years.
calm down.
2,000
And it's been a
years.
strong institution. I'm not actually sure how tying in that at the time they cut people's heads off, what that has to do with the fact that in the 1950s and 40s, you still had 95% of these marriages staying together. This is not ancient history. This is not even early American history. Hang on. That's in your grandfather's lifetime, basically. And this, by the way, that was the case for black marriages as well. Very strong institutions. But all of those institutions were that way because they followed that whole Sky Daddy thing. Correct. They were like, oh, that Sky Daddy's going to smite us if we don't. And so what you do here is you're giving the classic progressive argument, which is, well, you know, guys, it is true that it's a great institution, and it is true it's the best place in the world to have children for the continuation of the species. And also, it's fantastic for men's health. It's fantastic for their mental health. It's great for them in almost every way. But that divorce thing is real bad. And I counter. You're right. That divorce thing is real bad. We have now a center of agreement. But now we're going back to the marriage in the West thing, which is that whole great institution problem. Well, if we agree that what made it good, which you just did, is, hey, that Sky Daddy guy, and then I point out that right now you can still utilize that Sky Daddy guy for an ecclesiastical marriage outside of the state. Hang on. And the only thing you could do is say, well, what about common law? But you can't govern anybody from common law. And at least in the ecclesiastical institution, you have social pressures on women to stay married. You can't offer a man anything like that. Give me a single social pressure you can offer that would actually keep these marriages together. One. What? One. Just one.
Can I answer something
Yeah.
you just said? This would be interesting.
I
because
can't wait.
You said
but
the
can you
19
answer that question then
No,
ask?
before.
Oh, of
the
course.
1940s.
Of course, you gotta ask me a question.
Because
before you
listen,
answer
I'm listening to you. You asked the question at the end. If you would have asked it at the beginning, possibly I might have been able to address it. But let me address this point.
Okay.
You said the 1940s and 1950s with this imaginary Sky Daddy controlling marriages. That sounds like enforcement. Because by the time the
Doesn't it?
1970s came around, the very first chance women got to file a no-fault divorce without need for evidence, without need to have a private investigator to prove an affair.
Was no fault the 70s?
Yes, it was the 70s, started by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'll educate you.
But hang on.
Came along. Hold on for a second. No.
Yeah.
I got the
Go
floor
ahead.
here. I got the floor. So you said
You said the woman stayed under necessity. They left as soon as the opportunity presented itself. Well, under necessity of what? The environment, I would say. Well, it's true. The environment was kind of rough, so they needed a man for protection and resources. As soon as they saw the opportunity, they left. So at the end of the day, it always comes down to them. They always. it seems like the way we're seeing this, females will destroy or will choose themselves in their happiness before they can just keep their family together. That's what I'm seeing. That's why the divorce rates are too high. And the reason, even though they can make the argument we have the divorce rates supposedly are going down, they're not going down because less people are getting divorced. It's just simply that less people are getting married. So they're at the end of the day, if this is not fixed, there are going to be no divorce, no marriage, and then the institution of the country it's going to be gone, because then communities are going to be gone. Then things are going to be an utopia.
Religious institutions governed it and made it great. The 1970s came along, and as soon as they did,
Feminism.
women started to file divorces at record rates, which is back to my conversation. Soon as you remove the authority of Sky Daddy, now you're back with the state. And now you have difficulty, and now the risk is now greater.
Oh.
So that's the issue that
Then
you
it
have.
sounds like men should be moving towards Sky Daddy then, because it mitigates the risk.
The courts, the nation should be
There's
moving
no
towards
courts.
that. But how do you enforce that?
What court? What courts?
your
You're
land is
not
in-
getting a marriage from the state. What courts are involved here?
Everything you told me is a make-believe scenario.
How? You can
You're
do it
telling-
right now. How is it make believe?
How do you do that when people
Here's
the
what you
marriages
do.
through state?
Yeah.
I know you want to go
I'll
back
tell
to
you how.
Ecclesiastics. This
No,
is
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you, you
problem.
can do it right
Okay.
this second.
Okay,
you
can
could go
do it.
do it right now.
You can do it at this particular
can't
point.
do.
However,
What do you mean?
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Can you get men to do it?
Yes.
Okay, you might be able to think you can get men to do it, but as soon as they do it, I want you to stick around for the average of 8 to 10 years when these men start getting divorced. See, what you're doing is you're leading.
We've
men,
been
hold on
watching
for a
it for
second.
longer.
You're going to lead men into a burning building.
Oh.
And the reason
Oh,
why,
okay.
and this is a famous quote by Martin Luther King, is because the laws of integration didn't catch up fast enough for what he wanted for people to integrate. And what happened was it took him 12 to 15 years to realize that he led men or black people into a burning building in which integration was not possible at the time.
Okay.
You are also proposing the same thing. And I would like for you to
How?
stick around to see the results of what you're proposing, because eventually you would have to pay the price. How did
see.
Martin Luther King pay the price? You would have to pay the price for the men that you misled.
So Martin Luther misled men, and that's why he was killed?
I said he misled black people. You missed that part.
Those
He said,
right.
okay, let me repeat it, because
Yeah.
you're slow.
I
All right,
am,
you
you're
definitely
right.
are slow, Neanderthal.
That's for sure.
Let me tell you something.
Damn,
I'm dragging
Martin
knuckles
Luther
over here.
King said specifically,
Yeah.
related to black people and civil rights,
Yeah.
I'll speak slowly for you,
Yeah.
that he believed at the end, he led them into a burning building. I'm going to speak slower. The
Okay.
reason why is because the laws of integration
Yeah.
did not catch up with what he would like to present. Black people weren't ready to integrate. As a result, he said, I may have led my people, that means his people, into a burning building.
Okay.
I would like for you, under your scenario, if your movement takes off,
Yeah.
to see the results, because it took Martin Luther King 12, 15 years to see the
Okay.
results
I understand
of
now.
his efforts.
Yeah.
You're proposing something very extreme that majority of people aren't going to do. But let's just say because you like to hide in the clouds of make-believe, if
They did.
this works,
Right.
I would love to see you represent these men in a divorce when they get their head bit off by these so-called women that are forced by Sky Daddy to stay in these marriages.
This is really, like, I don't even understand how
You
to
don't understand.
how
I
to
know
re-
you have a hard time
I
understanding.
do. I don't actually even understand how to respond to a lot of this because it's so incoherent, but I'm going to try anyway.
Oh yeah, see, this is
So
I
let's
see
start-
this is his always incoherent when he understands. Perhaps you don't
This-
understand.
this isn't-
that might be what it is, and
Yeah.
it's okay to say you don't understand, and I can speak slowly for you.
I don't understand now, but I'm going to
Of
tell you
course.
why. I'm going to
Of
tell you
course,
why.
dismissive. I mean,
I'm going to tell you
it's
why.
okay.
It's-
When you're losing, just
okay.
say you're losing,
Well,
and I can speak.
Let
for
me
you
know
a
when I
little
can
bit
talk
slower.
and you gas out.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So here's
typical tactic, but you
here's-
can work that against these
Okay, so I
OnlyFans
still can't
girls.
talk.
Hey,
Go
listen,
ahead.
you can work that tactic against those OnlyFans girls that you debate, debating 23-year-old ignorant women.
They're smarter
Oh
than
my
you.
But
God.
now
They're
you're
smarter
sitting
than you.
across from a person.
They're always smarter than you.
Yeah, you're sitting across from a person here.
Oh, no.
That's looking at a Neanderthal, say you don't understand something very
Well, let
simple.
me know when he gas out
This
so
is
I
the
can respond.
simplest thing that you can understand.
Okay.
Your go. Your go.
Are you sure?
Please.
I can actually do it this
and
time?
please, put me to sleep. Please.
Okay, so
Yeah, but I
put me
don't
to-
know why Coach Greg Adams is doing this, man. That he shouldn't done that. He he shouldn't do this. He should have done this. Like really, like he should have just simply had a different approach to this. Like really sit down and don't be a little bit too emotional on this. Just get to the matter of the problem and just. I think we both want the best for men. I think both men want the best for men. The problem is that their description of the problem is very similar. They don't like divorce. Divorce is a problem they don't like. However, for some reason, the prescription is not a conversation that they want to have. They don't want to have prescription. So we're in this position where we don't know yet.
Here's why it's incoherent, and there's a bunch of this I don't understand. You keep on saying that these men are going to get divorced, and yet I'm proposing non-state marriages. How are they going to get divorced? Well, you can only say then via common law. But again, you have no defense yourself against
these are if scenarios.
I
mean, come on,
I don't.
man. Please, you said I was going to debate somebody that's going to come.
Why do you keep filibustering?
Scenario.
Give
me a real scenario.
I let you speak the entire time.
Give me something to speak about.
Okay.
You're giving me
I'm not
an
asking
scenario.
you to speak.
You're trying to invite me to your church.
I'm just
I'm not going
asking
to your
you
church.
to
Please
listen.
give me.
And every other bar, you said that he didn't have to do that. He's effective without it. What do you mean by that? Let me know.
A real scenario.
You have to shut up long enough for me to
Come
do
on,
it.
please. I've been here 30 minutes waiting for you to do it.
Yeah,
All right.
Give me a real scenario.
Okay, so what I don't understand here, again, and I'm going to ask again, in your incoherent worldview,
okay, please.
You keep on saying that these men who I propose this to are going to get divorced. But I'm not proposing that they get married through the state. The state's the one who does the divorces. So the only thing you could say is that there's a potential for common law here. But that's something you yourself cannot guard them from by your own admission. The second problem that we have here is that I don't have to stick around for 10 or 15 years because we can look at the numbers right now in religious marriage for what this looks like. And here's what this looks like. If you're a Catholic, you're way less likely to get divorced. And if you're Orthodox, even less likely to get divorced. And it's because of that ecclesiastical structure. You're not ever going to be able to prevent all risk from divorce, not under anything.
Thank you, God. That's the most realistic thing you've said all day.
But not under any system
Correct.
is that going to be the case.
But why are Catholics getting divorced? How do they get divorced?
They get annulments. They don't even get divorces.
Okay,
and it's a really long process, and it's rare.
Christians have a similar divorce rate than the secular.
No.
So they have a very close. So how do they get divorced?
I'm going to
How
explain.
do Christians get divorced?
I'll answer your question.
Please tell me, because I know how to get divorced.
So
right in the divorce court.
Yeah, I know. So because they call it a state marriage.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm proposing that they don't do that, right?
Okay, a land of make-believe.
How's that a land of make-believe? You can go fucking do it right now.
Please tell me what
are you talking about?
What percentage of people do this particular thing that you're doing, that you're proposing?
Why would that matter? Let's say it's one person.
Okay,
why would that matter?
It's one person. So you're taking a very small chance. You're arguing against me that has millions of people on my side.
Who are getting divorced and you don't want them to.
But you're telling me a small 20 people in a little house on the prairie that you govern people without electricity and you riding horse and carriages.
Yeah.
You're telling me
I agree. They don't have to be disrespectful. You're right over other bar. They don't need to be disrespectful towards each other. Because I think both of them do care about men, right? And they describe the problem and they do agree with the problem. However, as soon as they start getting to the prescription of the problem, right, of the description, they start getting a little bit, emotional. I don't know why. It might be ego.
A small percentage of people are going to lead a movement of doing something you're proposing here on YouTube. How many people are doing this?
Okay. Why would that matter?
It would matter because then we can use some data to determine, do these people end up in divorce?
Well, we can
more
do it.
Than likely.
This is great because we can look at the data. So let's look at.
Please.
Do you want to look at the Catholic data and Orthodox data for marriage?
We're talking about your ecclesiastic proposal.
That's what
we're talking about.
This is the ecclesiastical proposal.
If we're using Catholic and Christians, their divorce rate tends to be very close.
I'll look it up.
It's very close. Let's
not
go ahead and
Catholic.
look it up. Hold on for
Self-ID'd Christians.
Okay,
Self-ID'd Christians.
Okay.
Self-ID.
No, let's just put Christians.
Christian?
He's like,
Christian and Catholic.
You have to define. You have to tell me what a Christian is.
He likes to dice up all of these people.
It's
and
important.
listen. I would love to go to your church one day. I would be a wonderful guest, and I would love to thump the Bible, and I would love to say a prayer with you. However, this conversation is entering into
Can we pull up my screen?
very much a Sky Daddy conversation, which
Oh my
again,
God.
it's about
Who
belief.
brought up Sky Daddy? You.
It's, you
Yo,
brought it up
we
about
got
the
the divorce rates
ecclesiastic
pulled up right
marriage.
here.
That's not.
You brought that up.
What is that? That's,
So that is a religious
if
argument.
you're an
which more
atheist, you
people
should
in
be
a
able
religion-
to
okay, listen,
contend with that,
A lot
dude.
of people would not want to do that. You're telling me a small percentage
Who
of people are going to
cares?
do this.
We're talking about mitigating the rates of divorce. It
now,
doesn't matter how many
can
do
we
it.
move forward from this one? We agree to disagree.
No, we
Can
don't
mo-
agree to disagree.
Okay,
I need
so you want to
counter
keep it here in your
arguments.
land of make a
I want
make-believe.
counter
No, I'm not
arguments.
going to argue in your land of make believe.
Yeah,
because
because you can't.
Because,
You have no counter
because it's
arguments.
ridiculous. It's
You don't have
ridiculous.
one counter argument.
Here's a counter argument.
Okay, what is it?
There's no God in marriage. How many times do I have to say that?
That's an
If you
assertion.
end
It's not an argument.
If you end up in divorce court, God doesn't matter. None of this matters. That's real.
Yeah, the Catholics is
That's
the
the
lowest.
realest argument that you can possibly hear.
Yeah.
Soon as she
How do
goes-
you end
hold on
up
for
in a
second,
divorce court without the state?
Hold on for a second. Hold on
How?
for a second. Hold on for a second. I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
In the 1940s, which you so love, I don't know why you don't live there. You look like you live there. You're dressed like you live there.
They
Here's
wore
the problem.
hoodies and
Hold on
jeans
for a
in the
second.
40s,
Hold
did they?
on for a second. Here's the problem.
Okay.
These people, under your authoritative, godly marriage,
Yeah.
still got divorced at high rates
No, they
once
didn't.
no fault divorce showed up. It started at 25%. Then by the time you get here, it's close to 40 and 50%. It's still prevalent. I'm giving you the reality
That's
here.
not the
You're
reality.
trying to drag me back over here to the little house on the prairie. It's not working. It's not going to work with me. How about this?
How about a counter argument?
If
Can I get one
traditional
of
marriage,
those?
I gave you one.
What?
I mean, come on, man.
What is the
Come on,
counter
man.
argument? Come
Listen,
on, man. It's not a
listen,
counter
listen.
argument. What's the counter argument?
There's no God in marriage, and divorce
That's an
court,
assertion, not
there's
an
no
argument.
God in divorce court.
God's not an
I assert
argument.
that there's no
Okay, well,
God
there
in
is a
divorce
God
court.
in divorce court. Argument defeated.
Exactly.
Argument
Yeah.
defeated.
Oh my goodness,
It's
boy!
so
All right, did you
silly.
need your sandbox outside? Did you miss your toys?
It's just
Did you not get a
ridiculous.
nap?
Like,
Here's a
I
problem.
want an argument,
This is the
dude.
absolute argument.
Okay.
Thank you,
You're
baby.
trying to drag me to church. I'm taking you outside of church. You can't combat it because you want to battle inside the church. I'm not letting you.
Yes, I don't know. He's doing all this weird kind of condescending talking points, and this is the problem because he's getting a little bit too much in. That's me. I'm talking about Coach Greg Adams. He's getting a little bit too emotional with this, and I don't think he's. I do understand where he's coming from. He works with these people. He works with a lot of guys that are getting mistreated with the system. However, we need to get to the point that okay, here's what we need to do. Here's where we need to move forward. Here's what this is how I would suggest. We need to get at least to that point, and that way we can move this solution forward.
So let's get back to the
I
state.
don't care if secularists get married.
Let's get back to the state
What do you mean?
and that divorce rate. Did you find out the numbers?
Yeah, I pulled it up earlier, but I'll pull it up again. It's up on the screen. Can you guys see this? Catholic, 19 to 25%. Mainline Protestant, 30 to 35%. Evangelical, 26 to 33.
That's
Yes.
up there.
Now, pull up
That's up there.
Orthodox.
40,
Orthodox.
33, 34, 30. That's pretty high.
Orthodox divorce rate.
Yes, see here, Orthodox as well. I'm just looking at Orthodox.
17 to 20.
I see average 33%.
It's let, yeah.
That's
U.S.
U.S.
average.
That's
all
evangelical
adults.
Protestants. That's with the
It says
coalition of
Orthodox
all
adults
of them.
ever divorced 17 to 20.
So
US
I have it here. The Chadistic Orthodox is slightly lower. It's between 8 to 9%. I have it right here. I don't know what kind of. I don't know what he's the. I don't know what kind of prompt he's using to just look this statistics. But Orthodox Jews, the Chadistic Orthodox, modern Orthodox is between. It's very low. It's actually very low. Eastern Orthodox is under 1%. Divorce rate is under 1% for active adherents. Refined rate between 1 to 2 per thousand. Though this may reflect underreporting of a high social stigma. There we go. For all self-identified Orthodox Christian is around 9% lifetime. But church-sanctioned divorce are rare. Why so low? Strong community support, religious emphasis on marital permanence, later marriages, and cultural norms against dissolution. However, continuous divorce get refusal of Judaism or whatever. So it's less than 1%. It's even lower than the Jewish Orthodox. The national average 30 to 35%. These are Christians though. So that means the Orthodox Christians are much lower. So there you go. I don't know what Trump, and you have to be very careful. He's using ChatGPT. I'm using Grok. This is Grok. This is not ChatGPT. So you have to be very careful where ChatGPTs are getting the sources. Again, these AIs are not. You have to make them think hard to get some of these information. So Andrew's correct here.
Yes. Average 33%.
Yeah, so they're much lower.
It says in the U.S. 33%. The Orthodox ever divorce, that's worldwide.
Yeah, they're much lower rates.
Okay, but you're saying that they can't get divorced. That's what you said.
No, bro.
You said, is that what you said?
The whole point
said
here
they
is
can't
how
get
do we
divorced because you're
mitigate the
enforcing
risk
them.
of divorce? You can't ever completely mitigate
30%.
it.
You cannot mitigate
It can't ever be completely mitigated, but you can mitigate the risk of divorce.
Okay, great.
It is lower. They're saying
Much
it's
lower. Much lower.
Okay, all right. So a chance of getting hit 30% versus 44%. This doesn't defeat the argument.
It does defeat the argument.
Those divorces happen in the court of law because no divorce cannot be reported in that's not in the court of law.
Actually,
so what is the divorce that happens outside of the court of law? If it's 33% in the court of law with your Orthodox ecclesiastic marriage, what is it outside?
Even
what is
lower.
it within that?
It's even lower.
Okay, so add that 10%.
Yes.
Now we're at 40%.
No, you wouldn't add
Whatever.
that. You wouldn't add 10%.
That's the legal
what are you
divorce.
talking
Hold on for a
about?
second. When you say a divorce, those are reported divorces legally. That means these people filed in the legal reported system. That's 30+%. Okay. You said there would be more that were outside of the door.
No, less.
Outside of the state.
Less.
No, hold on for a second.
Less.
There's additional outside of the marriage, outside of the state.
No.
Oh, there's none?
Well,
so you're
no,
saying
no,
there's zero.
Not really.
What are you saying?
Okay, so let me explain.
Please.
So that you understand.
Additional to the 33%.
Yeah, but you have to, can you at least let me finish this time?
Please do it because you're slow.
So if it's the case, you're in an ecclesiastical marriage, you're still adding usually the state. These people are all adding the state, okay? The Catholics themselves, if you were to look at their annulments rate from the ecclesiastical authority, it's actually much lower than even the percentage that you're getting from the state because they add the state in, which means some people will ignore the ecclesiastical authority and get divorced anyway.
That's exactly what I've been telling you the entire
Nobody
time. And
ever
then what?
argued that.
Exactly. But so
We're
how do
arguing
you
about
mitigate? You're saying
mitigating the
mitigating
risk.
It
Mitigating
seems
the
like there's
risk.
still a risk.
No, it would mitigate the risk.
So the risk is slightly lower.
Much lower.
Okay, that's not that much lower.
It's
the
much
divorce rate
lower.
is 40%. You're talking about 33% to 43%.
No, we're not. We're talking about 20% to 35 to 40%.
Okay, so that's lower.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you got. Now, here's
That's
the
all I
problem.
need.
That's not all you need because there's still risk. How do you say
Nobody said there wouldn't be risk.
Exactly.
You
So
can't
at this
mitigate
particular
risk
point-
for anything 100%. It's not possible.
Exactly. So now why are we telling men to get married?
Because you have to, because everything is a cost benefit analysis. Your issue is not marriage. Your issue is with mitigating
At
the risk.
this point, it's not marriage.
It's
This is the only.
mitigating-
Hold on for a second. Can I say this?
Oh my God. Can you
Hold
ever
on for a
stop
second.
saying something so I
Come on,
can say
listen.
something?
At this particular point, listen.
Okay, I'm
You're
listening.
telling me
This is crazy,
from
man.
this point, we haven't even got to the entire marriage because you're still over in the land of make believe. We haven't even got to the
Yeah,
other issues
I
of
don't know,
marriage.
guys.
Hold on for a second. We still haven't got to the other issues of marriage.
I'm willing to
so
get to
you're
everything.
telling me about the mitigation risk, and we've wasted too much time on it. Can we talk about the other issues of marriage?
Well,
which
okay.
are sexless
Can
marriage.
we at least wrap this up?
Yeah,
Please.
let Andrew finalize this, and then
Yeah,
we'll move on to
so-
that.
Yeah,
thing
he's
is
having
like-
he's having a problem just putting all his thought together. I do think that Coach Greg Adams has some great input, but he needs to put it all together nicely. I think he has a lot of thoughts. I think he has a lot of experience with the topic, but he has to put it more concise and just let Andrew just jump in and get back and forward. Because the thing is, if Coach Greg Adams has a very good argument against Andrew Wilson, it's just a matter of time where you can say, you know what, I think Adams has a great point, but he's not allowing the debate to give him that moment because he's just talking too much.
The problem is you said it was a great institution. If you say it's a great institution, even when it was a great institution, people were still getting divorced. So if that's the case, what you're really after is just mitigating risk. And I'm giving you a perfect way to mitigate risk. right? And the fact of the matter is that it is becoming more and more popular to do it this way. Prenup plus ecclesiastical authority almost mitigates your risk entirely, except for common law, but you can pick the state to live in for that. And you, by your own logic, can't defer from common law either. You can't protect men from that. So the thing is like, you can't have it both ways. You can't agree marriage is good and the backbone for the West and you really like it and it's fucking great and it's a great institution, but also don't do it because it's make-believe that you can mitigate risk even though you can right this second. That's insane.
Listen,
All right, final
I'm
point.
listening.
final point. Let's get to the other risks that are associated with it. We got that.
That's
we
not a
tackled
final
that
point on this.
That is
Make the final point and then
listen,
go to
listen. I'm a grown man. I'm not 22-year-old OnlyFans. I'm going to say what I want to say. Listen to this. At this particular point,
You got
we're
me
moving
on that
forward.
one.
Listen, we're moving forward.
Okay, we're moving
At this
forward.
point, what are the other risks that we want to guard against? We got the divorce. You're going to put them on the ecclesiastic paperwork. Less people are doing that. Not a lot of people know how to do it. He just got married. He didn't do it. All right. I can almost guarantee.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So what?
So now, less people are going to do this. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of men are going to
So it
prepare
sounds like we
themselves to
should
do
try to
that.
change that, huh?
Exactly. So that would be
I
a
agree.
very tough
We should
scenario,
try to change
and
it.
most likely it's not going to happen moving forward.
Okay.
There are other issues in marriage
Okay, let's
that
get to 'em.
typically, if depending on what authority you go under, are still a risk for men. Yes, it's great for the backbone, but a lot of men are in sexless marriages. A lot of women are in sexless
True.
marriages. The percentage of affairs in marriages are still a big issue. That can't be addressed.
Oh.
Those risks are going to be tough. And now you have an issue because now whoever's your authority has to mitigate that risk. Now all of a sudden they have to govern or socially pressure the women, and that's going to be difficult to do. 20%, 30% of sexless marriages, 30% of people having affairs. This is not the intent of people who get married. So yes, we have the divorce. We set that aside. Now, what about within the marriage? How do you mitigate the risk for that? I'm assuming you're going to have the ecclesiastic come through the home and force the wives to fuck their husbands.
Oh, that's
Damn.
quite the straw man.
Yeah,
but
that's-
I'll go ahead and answer. Actually, the ecclesiastical authority does mitigate against this, and here's my proofs. Proof one: if it is the case that you get married to a woman who's a virgin, but she's a virgin because she's a Christian. Hang on, let me get through the entirety of the argument before you start freaking out. If it is the case,
Virgins.
your chances of that marriage ending, very, very, very small, one. And two, they report that they have a happier sex life. This is actually the case with the decrease in body count, which generally comes with the more religious people, meaning the more that you take your religion seriously, the more that you pray, the more that you engage in that whole ecclesiastical authority thing, the less likely it is you step out of your marriage, significantly less likely. The less likely it is that you end up in a sexless marriage. You know why? Because there's a reinforcement in Christianity that men and women are not allowed to deprive each other of that, of sex, when it comes to marriage. And you find that people who follow the traditional faith generally don't. And so, yes, the ecclesiastical authority preaches that from the pulpit. Sorry, lady, you got to fuck your husband. That's part of God's law. Yeah. What do you got for him? Go out and just fuck everybody? What is
That's an interesting
what are
leap.
you going
That's
to
an
do
interesting leap.
to mitigate? By the way, you're at the mercy of the same criticism. You can't mitigate guys' girlfriends from fucking around on them any more than you could a person's wife. You can't mitigate them stepping out on them. You can't mitigate them treating them like
just a
shit.
girlfriend.
You can't do anything.
There's
At
no
least I
penalty.
have a mitigation here. You have nothing. You have nothing. Just liberal degeneracy. Give me something. Something you could do that would give any kind of fail-safe against this. One thing.
I don't know what communities you live in, but your church pastor is going to be very busy walking in all of these bedrooms, preventing divorce and enforcing women to sleep with their husbands. Now, the first leap
like you
of
didn't
faith
even
that
hear
you
what I
have,
said.
hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin. Okay, if we look at the stats, please
Yeah,
pull
I
up the
don't know
stats
what-
of how many women
It
qualify
doesn't
as a
hinge
virgin.
on virginity.
You said
That's the
virginity. I'm just
baseline.
letting you know.
Oh my
You
God.
brought it up
Yeah,
In America?
in America.
I don't know. This is very like I don't know if he really want to tackle the argument, but he might be just tackling whatever is behind the argument, which is not helping the conversation at all. And that's for Coach Greg Adams.
What women percentage qualify as virgins? All right, so you're gonna say very few. So you know this.
7% age
Seven-
22 to 34.
7%.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know what?
So now we have.
God, this guy. Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
That was the baseline.
Yeah.
You
and
want to say
so
now? Do we want to
the
increase
base-
the body count?
yeah,
I mean,
the-
because
yes,
if you're looking,
that was the whole point of the baseline of the argument.
So right now, if we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body
That's
count
not the only
lower than 5.
No,
because
millennials
now
are
we're
also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
okay. Millennials, younger
Yeah.
millennials.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're gonna have 1 or 2 kids.
Older
That doesn't
people
help
do
us.
procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're gonna
true,
have 1 or
but
2 kids.
the
All right,
thing-
listen. It said in the
What do
Bible,
you
in
mean?
your Bible, it says
Yeah.
be fruitful and multiply, not add. All right, we're not adding one little autistic kid. We're multiplying.
That would be
All right?
multiplying.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
Having
it would.
one little bright
if
ass
you have
kid.
3 and you have 1 more, that's
All
you're
right,
multiplying.
however, multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not the answer.
multiplying.
Okay, listen. We're multiplying
Okay.
by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a
you
multiple
want,
that we're
hold on for a second.
multiplying
Hold on
by.
for a second. You want to convince me
Uh-huh.
that there's going to be women of low body count in this secular world we live in to make your scenario
They're more
work,
likely
to
to-
enforce women to have
Yeah.
sex with their
They're gonna
husband
be more
from
like-
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
This is very strange.
Well, I have all
from a
the data
secular
to back
person.
show me
from a very
anything.
from a very small percentage. I mean, it works in a podunk town. I don't
Doesn't
know where
just
you're
work in a
from.
podunk
We're
town.
talking about the metropolises. We're talking about major
And
cities.
how is your
And you're talking
plan
about
going to mitigate
virginity.
that? How
You're
is your
I
plan
asked
going to
you-
mitigate
remember,
that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right.
And I
This is
told
the question
you.
and you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with
God.
enforcing
Why
sex
do
from
you
the
only give
pulpit.
half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments.
Yeah.
So let's do it again. If you want
Please.
to mitigate.
Force women to have lower body
You're
counts.
not, dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one enforcing sex.
How
to the
is
husband.
it? How?
do you
How are we
enforce sex-
using force?
How are you enforcing sex to the
Through
husband from the
social,
pulpit?
through social pressure, doofus. The same way you would with
Okay,
everything.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because a church reverend enforced her to have sex with
God.
you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat.
Yeah, pull
His
up the chat.
suggestion is to have a church reverend enforce you
They're
to
not
have burning
enforcing it.
desire to have sex with your
Enforce
husband.
requires force. Enforce is a derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage.
Uh-huh.
It's through enforcement through the religious pulpit.
No, it's gonna
I mean,
be
this
the
is
idea-
2025,
if it's
and we're
the
still here
idea-
somewhere on Little House on the
Yeah,
Prairie.
if it's the idea,
I would love
that
to have
women
this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men have both, that they're not supposed to deprive each other from this because that is how they live the life of a Christian. The case of the matter is that they try to keep themselves sexually appealing to the partner. They try to keep themselves moving towards that state where they're found appealing. That's part of that. Why do you think? And by the way, you keep saying force. Can you
Enforce.
demonstrate anywhere that I said that there would be any force involved with any of this, or that it's even
I said
necessary?
enforce.
Enforce is force.
Correct. That's what. So I was
So
correct
where
by
is
using
the force? Where?
You tell me. You're the one
You're
that's going
asked
to
the
Oh
question.
my
You're the one that
God.
told me the church reverend is going to come enforce marriage.
No,
and sex.
when?
You said that earlier.
No. I said the
Enforcement
ecclesiastical
from the pulpit-
authority
from the
uses
pulpit.
social pressures.
Social pressure.
Yeah, he's talking more. Andrew's talking about ecclesiastic authority, meaning through the religion, through the stigma, through the community. It doesn't really. It's more like a shaming tactic. You don't need a force mechanism for that, right? And the Amish are very good at that, right? You do something that is against the community that will expunge you from the community. That's ecclesiastic authority. Now, Coach Greg Adams is confusing that with enforce, but force you need physical. You need physical submission, and we're not talking about that. I think this is the part when this frustrating because they're still trying to figure out how are we going to solve this problem and what could be the solution to these things. We haven't gone to that yet. We haven't gone to that.
That's
to
not
make your
force.
wife fuck your husband.
No, you're not making
So
them
that's-
do anything.
Okay, to encourage them to fuck their
Yeah.
husband. Okay, this
Don't you encourage people's wives to fuck them?
I don't need to be in their bedrooms that much.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
mean, if
force her
somebody,
to do
if,
anything.
a, wo- if
Listen, I
somebody
can't
called
force
you,
a woman to do
if
very
a woman
much.
called you and said, "I don't sleep with my husband. He seems angry at me," would you encourage him or her to sleep with him?
I wouldn't encourage her to do anything, especially with
You
me.
wouldn't
I don't
encourage
mess
her
with
to do
I don't mess with married women. That's their
Brilliant.
business.
So your solution is fucking nothing. Nothing.
My solution is very clear.
What is it?
You're telling me at this particular point that you're going to enforce through social pressure. Social pressure.
That's not
Hold on for a
force.
second. Social
There's no
pressure
enforcement.
enforces women to be very promiscuous at this particular point.
Uh-huh.
Now, You're talking about 7% of the population or better, maybe 10, that are going to fall under this category. And this is going to lead a wave of women sleeping with their husband through social pressures when social pressure quite tells them the opposite. Let me move. Let me handle
I don't even
this.
know what the hell you're talking about at this point.
Exactly. It's very difficult. I know.
It's
It's very
very
difficult for
difficult.
you. I know, exactly. And very nice tactic. But listen,
It's not a tactic. I'm trying my hardest to understand.
You're taking a very small scenario to
Yeah.
make it the large scenario. When I'm telling you the larger scenario is the reality, and you're telling me
Both are
if
reality.
I do this, if I do that.
No,
this is
so
a
are
very
you.
small percentage.
You're doing the same
I'm
thing.
telling you about
if
what's
you get
happening.
married, you may get a
No, I
divorce.
said
you
when.
may, if this happens, then this may happen.
We already looked at the statistics of it likely happening.
Yeah, no,
so that is
no.
likely to happen.
First of all, even the
can you
statistics
pull up
looked
the
at.
statistics again?
Yeah, pull up
The
the
marriage
statistics.
statistics, the
For the
divorces.
Christians, it's
No.
actually not likely, is
Overall
it?
in the United States, overall in the United States.
Yeah,
So it only in order for it to work, you have to be white.
You need to break
make a
this
certain
down by
income. Hold on for a
demographics.
second. You need. Of
You want me to
course.
break it down?
So
and social
so you want to go.
economics.
You want to go. In order for your marriage to work, they have to be white, Christian.
They don't have to be white.
Make money.
No.
And then also probably live in a certain region.
If it's the
now,
case
what if that's
Wow,
not
this
the
is
case?
crazy.
Because
Yeah.
in the United States, I don't know where you live, but in the caves
Then
and
we use
hills
the
of the United
apparatuses.
Yeah, and
If
you
you
know
take-
what? He keeps saying that. I don't know where you live. He's being condescending. I don't know where you live. The Sky Daddy, stuff like that. I know this sounds kind of funny, all that stuff. But again, you're not tackling the arguments, which makes this very painful to even listen. Because Coach Greg Adams, when it comes down to red pill content, he's still on top of the world. I'm just giving him the space for that. And I think again, he do recognize there's a problem. However, for some reason, they don't want it's almost like a black pill. They don't want to prescribe anything to some of these descriptions for some reason. I just don't understand what it is. I just simply don't understand.
the rest of the United States, they're highly not that. That is outside of those demographics.
And don't you wanna
what if
change
they're-
that?
What if they're outside of that?
Don't
What
you
if they're
wanna-
not white
don't-
and Christian?
don't you wanna
What if
change
they're
that?
not Christian to make 100K? What do you suggest then?
Yeah, so here's what I would suggest. If it's the case that in the black community, you have more divorces than in the white community, there's going to be contributing factors for why that is. I don't think that like black people are just ontologically different than white people, do you? Do you just believe like that at their core they're just ontologically different, or do you think that they're the same? Because if that's the case, if we're equal people and equal people groups, then there must be some other social factors which are relating to this that increase the divorce rate in the black community that doesn't exist yet in the white community. If that's the case, we would specifically target those issues to prevent that from happening, right? We're going to do this
What
across.
is it?
We're going to do this across the board. Well,
what would they be?
For the black community, there's a bunch. One, you have a distinction in economic certitude. The second one is you got a massive abortion rate, which is super problematic. Another one is you use matriarchal structures in the family home instead of patriarchal. Huge issue that you have. By the way, when it was Christian-based, didn't happen. It was a patriarchal structure inside those black homes. And boy, they didn't put up with shit. Not the case anymore. So you have multiple factors here which need to be addressed. I agree with that. Nobody ever disagreed with that, though. What we're trying to do is look at the mitigation of risk. And even for the black community,
We handled that already.
If the black community moves in to these conventionally traditional churches, they still will have the same ecclesiastical authority, which will assist them in governing their marriage that white people would have, and it would still assist with the mitigation of risk. What's the alternative? It's just degeneracy, right? The alternative is just like, well, just hump them and never get married. Well, what good does that do for blacks? What good does that do? It just leads to more abortion. It just leads to more degeneracy. It leads to high crime rates, and the single motherhood's out of control. So, like, what are you doing to prevent any of that? Nothing. Nothing. Tell me what? What?
Okay, thank you. You said things that people have known for the past 45 years, but I
didn't answer the
appreciate that.
question.
Hold on for a second. Thank you for contributing to a common conversation that people know, but you offer no other solution. That's great.
Even
Now,
I
here's
did.
a problem. Here's a problem with this. It's an if scenario. That would be great if we can go back to this. It would be great if we can go back and look at and say that blacks, when they were in the 40s and 50s, they had more stable relationships and marriages than
Correct.
even white folks. Here's the issue.
Okay.
Why stop at the 40s? Let's talk about 1863.
Okay.
Your tradition seems to always hit this point of 1940s where you shine this light of traditionalism that you've never lived in, that seems to be in a snapshot of something that you don't even know about. Then when I fast
You're not
forward
even
20,
saying anything, dude.
again, you're not listening. When I fast forward to 1970, when it falls all apart with no fault divorce, based on what I've been arguing, what happens? All that traditionalism falls apart. Why don't we take it further? Why don't we take it back to bride prices? I mean, how far in tradition you're going to go? You're only going to bang your head around 1940 and 50 because you watched a couple of movies and I Love Lucy episodes? That's not tradition.
Okay.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So
take it back further. There's no marriages in the black community.
Let's say we'll take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling
We're
men?
stuck right there. This is where we stuck. This is where we are stuck, and I don't think Coach Greg Adams has a prescription. I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's very easy in his favor. What do? You basically just change the marriage law, right? And eliminate alimony and child support. That's it. That's it. And just make sure that when, don't eliminate no fault divorce, because whoever is just making the no fault divorce argument, they don't get anything after the divorce. That's it. For some reason, he's not saying that.
In the black community to not get married. How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription, dude.
Here's the problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King.
Does that mean no?
Give me a second. Listen to me. These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't.
No, they didn't.
Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription for the black community because the black community is pretty much doomed at this particular point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the 70 and 80%. But I'm going to tell you something. You want to come in here and tell me something about ecclesiastics, and you're telling me about the reality of the black community, how to fix it. Nobody's been able to fix that community. That's not what he's saying. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't offer any solution for that.
Look,
now, at that particular point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
where's your solution then?
I'll tell you again. So I'm glad
he's going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear this.
Listen again. I'm not saying
the black community problem solved by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally just got done saying, I have zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does. That community is here. But I would love to hear the black community solved by Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, so let me tell you a bunch of things that can be done which will help mitigate these issues.
Please do.
The first is
that you can accomplish, not some pipe dream.
That can be accomplished.
Okay, here we go.
That can be accomplished politically and already are beginning to be accomplished politically. The first is you have to outlaw abortion. You have to.
That's good.
It has to be outlawed. And not by state where you can just go to the next state and do another abortion, right? One of the biggest problems with promiscuity in the black community is that they use abortion as a form of birth control. Same problem that you see in the white community, by the way. It's just more prevalent in the black community. The next problem that you have there is the lack of religiosity, where there used to be a really strong core religious base of based black men. And they were patriarchal, very patriarchal. And the thing is that it's the idea of these feminist bra-burning lunatics that told black women not to be under the evil patriarchy of their men. And yet, at this point, the men are rolling over and allowing the matriarchy to take over in their own community. Is a return to traditional church ethics going to assist that? Of course it will. Of course it will. How do I know? Because it did then, just a few short years ago. I'm not talking about hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about 60 years ago. By the way, there's other things that you can do too. Getting rid of EBT, getting rid of social programs which are designed to keep people dependent. These are all things which can be politically accomplished. Just like abortion, the starting of banning that was politically accomplished in our lifetime. And the thing is like, You have no prescriptions. Fuck, at least I'm trying here, man.
Man, Andrew, you are Captain Obvious. This is the
Well,
obvious
then why didn't
prescription.
you obviously state it as a prescription?
Because people have exhausted the means to be able to do this. Trust me, there have been people way better than you that dress better than you and shave their beard better
whatever.
than you that can do this, and they haven't been able to accomplish it. You
So
have the
therefore, nobody
Democratic
can.
Party that is highly influential. 92% of black women voted for Democrats. That's also possibly where most of those women go to church. Most of black churches are overwhelmingly women. It's a woman's club, and you're telling me about
Not the
something
traditional
completely
churches.
obvious that everybody has pointed out for 25 years. You're not giving me anything new. This is a completely obvious scenario, and you believe that you've enlightened me over here, and you're waiting for me to give you a solution. Let me tell you something.
It's not about changing your mind.
You certainly would never do that. Now, at this particular point here, the unsettling experience that men experience in divorce, all right, you're saying you're just going to mitigate it or eradicate it. What about the small percentage of men that experience it and go through issues like high levels of self-deletion, high levels of them not being able to recover financially ever? They're still going to experience this
That's
under
the
your
description,
scenario.
okay.
This
Yes.
doesn't disappear.
It'll
What
never
prescription do you have for those men that went to your marriage
Yeah.
and they got divorced 33%? What do you do
Well,
with
no, it's
these
not
men?
33% by
Okay,
tradition.
20%, 30%. It still was at a high rate.
I think it would
what
even be
prescription
lower than that.
You would hope so. You would hope so. But hope is not a strategy. What hold on for a second. What scenario do you have for men that you led into the burning building when they experience separation from their children, parental alienation, high levels of self-deletion?
Yeah.
What prescription do you have, sir, that you sold?
Yeah,
have
that's a
all
great
you
question.
have all the answers. Please enlighten us.
Yeah,
What
so-
you're going to do with these men?
so-
Are you going to enforce them to have sex
Yeah,
with
yeah.
other virgins that
I'll
you have on
answer.
the sideline?
I'll answer the question,
Please
but I
do.
want to make a deal with you that if I answer this last question of yours, that you'll actually answer when I ask you after that. Is that a
Listen, we're
deal?
not in a court of law. I don't have to answer anything. I can state something.
Yeah, I know,
and
but
then
I'm
we
asking
go
if we
back
can
and
make a
forth.
deal. That if I
I'll
answer this
consider
question, you'll answer
answering
my
the
next
question
one.
that you asked me. I'll
So
consider
we're not
it.
going to make a deal on that?
I don't have to
Yeah,
make a
that's
deal.
it.
Listen,
You don't
I'll
have to.
consider
I'm asking if
answering
you will.
something.
That's it.
Possibly. So go ahead.
Possible? Okay, well
Possibly.
then I possibly will hold the debate hostage until you possibly make a deal with
All
me.
right, great. So that gives me the floor.
So we'll just sit here and
They
stare
give
at
me
each
the
other,
floor.
or we
Well,
just
here's the deal.
filibuster each other.
My God.
Like,
At this particular point,
so
you don't want to.
so I can
you
answer.
want to answer it. You want to
Yeah,
answer it.
but
I
you're
know
not
you
going
wanna
to.
answer
But you're not
it.
going to answer mine. I just want that clear. You're not going to answer mine after. You're just going to filibuster and
answered the
stonewall
question.
again.
I ask you the question. Put it on the table.
So this is pretty simple, right? What you're proposing here. Every policy prescription which is made anywhere in any nation, with any people group, from the tribal all the way to the national level, is going to be a trade-off, no matter what. There's always going to be some people who are disaffected by it in some small percentage, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We don't run societies based on outliers. The second thing is, when it comes to suicide in men, particularly, one of the best ways to mitigate that is to begin the process of eliminating deployment of troops abroad. Because one of the biggest contributing factors to male suicide, including in marriage with divorce, is their veteran status. And it's because they really depend on their family to assist them with what's going on mentally from the fact that they've been deployed in these wars. And one thing you could really do that would help that's what the American First policy is we want to bring troops home, no more foreign wars. That will greatly help and aid with this problem. And by the way, policy-wise, it's already been aiding with this as Trump has wound these wars down. And by the way, I'll point out
that's a good. That's a good one. I like it.
I'll
Go
point
ahead.
out. I'll point out a few more things that
Go
you
ahead,
can
please do. Yes.
So another thing that you can do is
Okay,
at the
okay.
national level, right? From propaganda works. I'm sure you agree. Propaganda absolutely works.
Absolutely.
If at a national level
Okay,
you
there's
had
a common sense.
propaganda, which instead of showing LGBTQ flags, degeneracy, girl bossing, shit like this, which is what you see everywhere, you had institutional family units instead. Right? And that was what you saw everywhere that you went. And that was where the social status was. At the top-down level, that would really help change people's psyches around. The same way they were indoctrinated towards the degeneracy, same way you can indoctrinate them out of degeneracy. That's how we got a whole nation to smoke. And it's also how we got a whole nation to quit smoking. The thing is, like, there really are good prescriptions here. And the only thing I get from you...
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
We're talking about self-deletion
almost
of
done.
men.
Almost done.
Okay.
Yes. That'll help with self-deletion of men. Yes. And it's one of the biggest contributing factors. Single motherhood, another huge contributing factor. These are all things which we need to mitigate.
agree.
And by the way, these are all great prescriptions. You said I don't have none.
No. For a second, that's what you said. Now here's the deal.
Okay.
These are
Okay.
great-
So Andrew tackled multiple problems and even provided prescription propaganda. I know a lot of people are kind of ooh about it, 1941, communist. But then they use propaganda against us. They use propaganda for the degeneracy. They use propaganda of LGBT. How is it that they can use a tool that strong and we cannot use it? You see what I'm saying? At some point, we have to start playing baseball with the same rules. It's like, and I say this multiple times, and it's like conservatives, they like to play baseball with a tennis racket. They just love to play baseball with the tennis racket. Probably because the tennis racket looks bigger and you have more space to hit the ball, but you're not going to hit the ball outside of the pitcher mount. I mean, at some point, we have to just bring fire to fire. I'm just saying metaphorically, of course, and just play with the same rules. We have to use propaganda. Use the propaganda in the more conservative areas. Get those numbers up. And then just bring it down to the cities. We can do it. We can do it.
8 prescriptions. I happen to live in the time that you're talking about when the FCC didn't allow degeneracy. And I was able to live through the time where they started to allow it. So I, unfortunately, was able to see a time where America was great. And now we had dysfunction. So I agree with some of those things. That took place probably 40 or 50 years. It would take a very, very unique scenario for that to occur when you have Cardi B and this type of music out here. And she's a single mother divorcee with a man that is having babies with multiple
that's
men.
a good argument.
Okay, so how...
That's an actual argument.
Hold on for a second. No,
that's
that's something that you agree with. That's okay.
No, that's
okay.
an actual
that's okay.
argument.
No, it's an agree. You just agree. You can be humble enough to say you agree.
That's an actual argument.
No, listen, you don't have to be, you don't have to belittle or attempt to belittle.
Well,
I'm here a grown-ass man.
The argument
just say
is
you agree.
propaganda
Hey,
takes
listen,
time.
listen. Just say you agree. You wanted me to answer
It's not a matter of
just say you
agreement. It's a
agree.
matter of recognizing that was an
It's
argument.
okay, sir.
It's
I
the
know
only
you're
argument
not
you've
used
made
to
the whole
somebody
debate.
across from you. No, just say you agree. You can humble yourself in the sight
I
of
don't
me.
agree.
Now,
It's
listen,
just an argument.
Listen, you agree.
It's
be
just-
a big boy.
No,
Be
it's
a big
not.
boy.
I don't
Now, listen,
agree, but
hold
it's
on
an
for a second.
argument.
Here's a second. Here's a second.
Okay.
You're telling me it's going to take 50 to 100 years.
No.
I ask you about a man that's considering taking his life today. You're telling me
that's
about
a good point
propaganda
there.
machine. Okay, there
That's a
are
good
men
point.
here
I
that
can't
are
lie.
been abandoned from their kids. They've been alienated. I'm talking about today. I'm not
Yeah, that's a
talking
good
about in the
point.
church. I'm talking about today.
Okay, I'll answer
You're
to
telling me
today.
about some scenario where you're going to change liberalism and bring in righteous conservatism. That's not going to work today. We need solutions for men today, not 50 years from the turning point meeting. Okay, at this point, today we have men that are in dire need of help.
I agree.
They're going through unsettling situations and divorces. This is who I speak to, and you keep telling me obvious answers about propaganda and changing this and going to church. This sounds great on paper, but that doesn't happen today. You don't start that today. Can you give me a one solution you got that starts today, Mr. I got all the solutions? We can start today.
Yeah. If you assist with funding MRA groups today who are trying to legislate and get legislation passed today to create preventative measures for those men today. Now, if you ask me, can you do anything about a man who might be willing to blow his head off right this second because he's already going through the events of divorce, which I had nothing to do with, wasn't there for, could never do anything about.
Nobody can do
Can you
anything about
prevent?
it.
Of course, nobody can. But that's built
Even
into
your righteous
but that's
ecclesiastic
built, that's
reverend
built,
from the pulpit.
Yes, but it's built into the question. What you're building into the question is probably the worst framing ever. Andrew, if somebody right this second is willing to do something bad, can you stop them?
Here it comes. Here it comes. Look at the
I don't
scenario.
understand.
But your scenario is
Yeah.
to change MRA funding when women outvote men 60 to 40%, and you have women lobbyist groups and 0 men lobby groups. That's what you're telling
That's
me?
really
We're
funny.
going to change to fund MRA groups. When
Congress
MRA
makes
groups,
the law,
hold on for
not
a
the
second.
voters, sir.
Hold on. When
Congress makes the law.
MRAs are on some terror lists. Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you're telling me that they're going to start just switching funding. We're just going to switch funding over here
Yeah.
to a terrorist
The
organization,
thing is-
according to some of these websites.
Yeah, I would say
this is just a pie in the sky. All
it's
your
funny.
solutions are completely
not
pie
only
in
is
the
it
sky.
not pie in the sky, but I'll give you an
Absolutely
example. I'll give you an example.
The least possible situation that can occur.
I'll give you an example of where it's already happened. So I would argue that the traditional churches are MRAs, that they are men's rights advocacy groups, and that's where traditional masculinity is mostly found today, where men are even allowed to be masculine. abortion.
There's
hang on. Let me finish my point. And it is the case that those MRAs, in this case, the traditional churches, already got abortion rolled back, didn't they? They're already moving these things back. They're already at the forefront of fighting degeneracy. They are also the ones who are at the charitable forefront of helping those same veterans who are blowing their heads off when the government doesn't even pay any attention to them. When by the time the government was all done doing any of these reforms when it came to veterans associations, it was those pesky old traditional churches that from Sky Daddy that you hate so much. They were the ones on the forefront who were actually assisting those people and not doing that. While you asked me this question, Andrew, what can you do right this second for a guy who's going to blow his head off? Well, probably nothing. But neither can you.
Of course
But
not.
at least we could do something about that not happening to others.
Okay, so that's very easy to accomplish in red states. And red states overwhelmingly were the states that got those things passed.
Yeah,
They were
that's true.
already going to get it passed.
Yeah, that's a problem right there. And I think it's because of the concept of happy life, happy wife, right? Happy wife, happy life kind of concept. And a lot of old conservatives, they think like that. Right, and they're very simple. They're very simple. And you can see that in Twitter. You can see that in the way they even talk about female, the way they prompt female conservatives into the main stages. They're very simple.
That's without the interaction of these so-called righteous individuals.
That
were
was
saying,
done
hold
at
on
the
for a
federal
second.
level,
Now
not
let's
the
just,
state level.
through Donald Trump.
The
the like.
federal
Now
level.
watch this.
It has nothing
But
to do with red state.
California, Nevada, these are all states that you can easily drive to and get it done because they're red
Which is why we
or
need
they're
a
blue
federal
states.
ban, yeah.
And at that particular point, are we going to get a federal ban? Do
Yeah,
you
we
believe
very
have?
possibly could. Yeah,
Possible.
it looks good. It looks
good, but
yeah.
we don't have it today. All right, so we don't.
You
we're not.
can't-
Yeah,
again,
okay.
we don't have it.
So what do you
and
wanna do?
More than likely,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. You said it's possible, and I say more than possible. You're not going to get it. All right. So at that point,
That's what
now
they
you
said
have
about
an
Roe
issue.
v. Wade, and they were wrong.
They're wrong today. They're wrong. Possibly, we possibly might get it, but California they're not doing it. I can drive to California
If there's
right
a
now.
federal ban,
when
they
there's
can't
a woman
stop
that can
it.
drive it, I could take a woman to Nevada.
Yeah,
You can
but it's
take her to
already
many
decreasing
places
the
right now.
rates. It's already working. Like, what are you talking about? It's already effective.
All it does is just send women to another place.
And
They're
it
gonna find
reduces the amount of abortions.
It reduces it so
Significantly.
Now we're not. That's all we're talking about. Reducing it. We're
Yeah.
talking about now the unsettling experiences.
So do nothing?
We're doing something.
Yeah.
We're doing something.
Yeah.
I'm informing
Yeah.
people. I'm informing people. I'm giving people the information.
To do what?
And you're telling me
What do you
a pie in
want
the
to
sky
do?
solution that might take
Tell me
forever.
what men should do.
I'm telling you what they're
What?
doing. All right. At this particular point, this
Yeah.
is the question that you've been wanting to ask me. All right.
Okay.
I put out a book called 52 Things That Men Should Do Prior to Considering Marriage.
Okay.
What it does is take it through a step-by-step approach of what they need to look out for just to detect.
What does that do,
Hold on for a
man,
second.
right
Hold on for a
now?
second. Just to detect. This man's considering. I've had plenty of men that said they were considering marriage. They found the red flags because of my book, and they stopped getting married to a woman that eventually they saw would have been bad for them. That would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm doing something very positive. Now watch this.
This is
you mitigate
great.
you mitigate the red flags. You allow
Mitigate the
men to
risk.
understand what the process of marriage is.
Mitigating the risk.
Then you're going into possibly telling them what the state is involved in, how your children are affected, parental alienation, the odds of self-deletion, and so forth and so on. So that's an obvious
I want to make sure I got this right.
opportunity for men to learn.
So I want to get this right.
You're telling me
What
a pie in
you're
the sky
doing-
possibility of changing
Yeah,
laws
so what you're
when women
doing-
outvote men 60 to 40%.
Yeah, so you wrote, it doesn't, dude, you don't even understand the political process and how it works. Voting itself, when you're talking about,
lobby groups.
yeah, you're talking about lobby
lobbies
groups and
What men lobby
NGOs.
groups? What male lobby groups do they
The
have?
traditional churches.
Okay, we're back to church again.
They're the ones
Okay,
who
we're
do all
back-
the lobbying on behalf of men.
They're
This is
doing
crazy,
it on behalf
bro.
of the men that follow them. That's not on
It's
behalf
for
of
all men.
Very
This
sad,
abortion
man.
ban helps
It
all
typically-
men,
It
not some. Their charities to men who are going to kill themselves helps all men, not some.
It doesn't help all men in that situation.
Yes,
it
it
helps
do-
the
it
men
helps.
because listen,
Yes, it
I'm going to
does.
tell you where it doesn't. There might be a woman considering getting an abortion, and he wants to keep the kid. He has no mitigating risk.
They're the only ones trying to change that.
Exact. Who is?
The traditional
You're
churches.
saying the traditional churches.
Yes.
All right. At that point, that doesn't help him.
Yes, it does help him.
So you're saying at that point, it's only the traditional church when you have hundreds of female lobbyist groups, and you have them out.
They're the
voting
ones
men.
combating those
And
female
that's it.
lobbying groups.
And
Yes.
that's it. How are they doing? Only the red
They're
states.
doing great.
Only the red
No,
states.
at the federal level, they're doing great. You're wrong.
You can still go to other states to get it done.
Yes, but we've still
this point.
managed to mitigate it even in those states. It's a war. It's a political
that's
war.
right.
That's how it works.
Exactly.
And not only that, let's point this out. Your whole solution here, I wrote a book to help mitigate future events. Oh, great. Andrew, what are you trying to do? Help mitigate future events.
Exactly.
Oh, right now, right this second, what can I do to help? Andrew says right this second, if guy has a 357 in his mouth, he's going to pull the trigger, he can't do anything. You're totally right, but neither can you by your own admission.
Correct.
So there we go there. When we're looking at the future, though, and I say, let's do all of these different prescriptions, which we can actually politically accomplish and move towards, you say, that's all fucking pie in the sky, blah, 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 blah. I ask, well, what can you do as far as future prescriptions?
And
You
I
say,
told them-
blacks are fucked, and I have absolutely no prescriptions
Yeah,
for
that's
it.
the problem. His argument is, hey, we're not doing anything because, you know, that community is just gone. So it's a black pill. It's a black pill approach. And I think Purley thinks does the same thing. And sometimes I can't lie. Sometimes I have trouble just listening to her because she's just a black pill, man. These people just describe the problem. When it's come down to the solution, no, don't do anything. I understand what you watch PORN. You know, I understand it. Don't be like, I really don't understand. They're basically have no solution to the problem, or they don't want to prescribe a solution to the problem. And then Coach Greg Adams is saying, like, I provide a solution, but it's my book, though, you know, it's my book. And I'm like, but this is the debate. We're trying to just get here to a goal to have a betterment for the men, but it doesn't seem like it's coming together.
No,
Sorry,
actually, I
guys.
wrote a book, 52 things that
There
men
you go,
could
see?
consider
To
prior
mitigate
marriage.
divorce risk. The
So
same thing I'm
find
trying
out
to do.
if they're marrying the right woman. So you're just
Mitigating
mad.
divorce
You're just
risk.
mad that I have one solution, you have another, and we don't
Mine's
agree with
better.
it. That's what you believe. I think yours is pie in the sky. So that's just.
I don't
your
see
own
how it
belief
could be
system.
pie in the sky.
When
It's
not
affecting
working,
way
you're
more men
asking-
than your book
you're
is.
asking- no. My book actually has 15,000+. You have
So?
how many? Hold on. You have
So?
how many? You have how many ecclesiastic marriages that your church pastor is going to go into the bedroom and enforce marriages? You can't even give me
Nobody
a number.
ever proposed
you couldn't
that.
even
You're
give me
such
a
a
number.
liar.
You couldn't
It's
even give me a
such a
number.
liar.
You said that. Give me a
Nobody
number.
said
Okay.
that the pastors are going to go in the bedroom and enforce anything.
Okay, social pressure.
Stop lying.
All your social
Just
pressure.
Stop lying,
Hey, listen,
dude.
listen. Where's your social pressure? How many people do you have in your ecclesiastic marriages? How many people got married under that?
Millions.
Please give me a number.
Millions of
Show
people
me a
have an
number.
ecclesiastical
Can you
authority.
Type it up?
That's
Go ahead and type it up.
People have an ecclesiastical marriage. They may have a
No,
state cert also.
under your scenario.
What do you want me to type?
We don't.
How many?
We don't,
you don't
know. We don't know
Exactly,
exactly.
But you're sneezing at my number, but you don't know at
we
all.
know for
hey,
sure
listen, there's a lot
that
you don't
even
know.
if it was
There's
the
a
case
lot
that
don't
you
know.
never adopted the state,
But you don't have any number.
even if it's the
Can you-
case. Hang on.
What's
hang
the
on,
number?
Hang on. Even if it's the case that all they ever did was get a state marriage certificate and never even followed that portion of what I'm saying, right? The number is still lower by the state's own numbers. It's still lower in
Can you
traditional
give me
churches.
a number of your marriages that you're proposing that we're all going to follow?
We don't
so
know. We
they
don't
can
have
mitigate?
polls
You
on it
don't
yet.
have a number.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
I would venture to say it's very little, under 100.
Sure.
All
So
right.
what?
So now we got.
No,
under
it's not under
100.
100.
Okay. Certainly
No.
under 100.
No, it's not.
All right. I
Well,
don't hear
people-
anybody talking about it other than you.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not around traditional
Okay.
churches by your own admission. But yeah, there's
Traditional
people who have crowning ceremonies and get married by
Traditional
churches who don't get a state cert.
Traditional churches.
In fact, there might be data on that. You should look.
please look it up.
There might be
under
actually.
your scenario.
Yeah, under my scenario. But the thing is that
Ecclesiastic
even if we
marriages under
grant,
here.
even if we were
So
to
we got
grant,
125
even
marriages.
if we were to grant it,
Yes.
still from the state's own admission, the divorce rate's still significantly lower for a reason.
20 to 30%. Okay, so
That's
it's
huge.
still lower. It is nice.
Significantly
It will be
lower.
nice. You still have men under unsettling divorce conditions. You still have men under state-funded divorce. You still have men under child support. You still have men under parental alienation. You still have sexist marriages.
2 out of
you
10.
haven't accomplished most of these
2
things.
out of 10.
2 out of 10 what?
That would be 2 out of 10. It's 20%, right? It's 2 out of 10 of those marriages, as opposed to your system.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, in your
5
system.
out of 10.
In your system, it's much higher.
It's the system that exists.
No, it's not.
But you're
Listen,
telling me 150 marriages. This is
No.
all of these scenarios. And I have to be honest with you. This wasn't much of a debate.
Yeah, I know,
because
you
much
lost
of your,
every
no,
point.
no. Listen, much of your scenarios were make believe.
I
To be
have to
honest,
say
they were-
something. The guy that's hosting the debate, he's doing a bad job. A very bad job. He's not coming in. He's not monitoring the debate. He's not basically just making sure that the arguments are or the questions are answered. He's doing a very bad job monitoring this debate.
They were pretty make-believe. You would have to have an extremely considerable movement to be able to accomplish them.
Like millions of people?
You would have to have millions of people to do
Can
exactly
you pull up how many Catholic and Orthodox are in the United States?
Listen.
It's my turn to ask. I can ask him to
Please
pull
do,
the
please
stats.
do. But that's not the number I'm looking
how many?
for. That's
Yeah,
not the
it
number
is the
I'm
number
looking
we're
for.
looking for.
We're looking for ecclesiastic marriages under your scenario.
No, listen, even
That's
if it
the
were
only
the
way
case,
it works for
even
you.
if it were the case, do you agree with me that if you take the state out of marriage, that is going to assist in the reduction of
We
divorce?
can't take the state out of marriage.
Why not?
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
can't
why
tell me
can't
how
you?
many people have done it.
Yeah, but why can't you do it?
Because no fault divorce, a woman can go into divorce you, even if, because you're not under her control. The
How if you're not
ecclesiastics are under
married
the
to her?
authority.
By the states, you're not married. How can she take you to a divorce court? Can you
See,
explain that to me?
I asked you this earlier. Have you been through a divorce?
It doesn't-
Oh my God. If the divorce is not good, it's not through the state. You cannot get a divorce through the state. I don't know why Coach Greg Adams is not listening to that. If you don't marry through the government, you cannot go through the divorce through the state. I don't know why he's not. Well, I don't understand why he doesn't want to concede in that argument.
Matter.
No, that's
Answer
a
the
yes.
question.
That's a yes. So you've been through a divorce.
Why does that matter?
All right,
What is it pertinent to the
because
debate?
this is why. Can I finish? You've been telling me I'm cutting you off. You won't let me finish.
Bro, I want
At this
an
point-
answer to my
See,
question.
There we go again. Oh
Can you
my
answer my
goodness.
question?
I mean, I can play the game you're playing.
You just
Can I-
won't answer questions.
Jeez. All right, listen. I mean, I thought you were a tough guy. Listen, under this scenario,
Okay, I guess.
a marriage, even if it's ceremonial, religious, it doesn't matter if she files for the divorce. You will still be going.
Well, no, but if she cannot file through a divorce, right? If there's no divorce, no marriage document, she cannot file for a divorce if there's no marriage documents. She can't.
in court to fight that.
How
I don't
would
care.
you file for divorce if you're not married by the state?
That's what I'm saying. That's the same
Dude.
argument.
Listen,
Can you
you're
answer my
completely missing this.
question?
You're completely missing this. This is
my
what
God.
tells me you haven't been through one. Have you talked to a divorce attorney? A woman can file. You have to respond and provide evidence that you were not married. Now, you and your common law, you living with your kids, is going to be difficult. I'm trying to give you some information.
That's
and knowledge.
common law marriage.
Okay.
That's different. In some states, there is no common law marriage. So just
That's
to
not
answer,
common
I think
law
it's only
marriage.
like 2 states that have common law marriage. I think New Jersey or New York. I don't know. Let me
Just
see.
answer
Listen,
one.
Let me
Okay.
just get you the information.
California doesn't even have common law, and that exists. It could be ceremonial. You could get married in Fiji. It doesn't matter. Soon as you get back here, if you practice marriage, the whole institution, at that particular point, if she files, you, sir, will have to respond to that suit.
Yeah.
If you do, I would hope and pray that the judge, not God, grant you your wish. At that point, your argument fails because you then would have to say, my ecclesiastic reverend on the little house on the prairie granted this marriage, but it doesn't count under the state.
I just wanna make
she
sure-
can do this, and you have to respond.
Can you
to
help?
it.
You can absolutely be sued. You're saying every other bar, the same way XQC just went through this exact scenario recently and had to pay $100K to fight the lawsuit. But I think he's Canadian, and in Canada, you have common law. In Canada, you have common law. Am I correct there? I think. Let me see. Yeah, I'll check out.
Me with this because
I'm
I
helping
am
you a
actually
lot.
confused. So let's say a woman and a man went out to a field and declared themselves
We got a
married.
scenario. Let's say if.
Yeah, let's say if a
that's the
man
one.
went out to a field with a woman and declared that they're married.
Yeah,
Correct.
he's Canadian. See, he's Canadian. I think he lives in Canada though. Yeah, in Canada, if you have common law, and you have common law, you're married. Basically, see, that's different. Canada is a different state, different country. So yeah, XQC, he stayed with that girl. That's why they tell you do not allow your female to live with you. Make sure she have a primary residency somewhere else. Well, he messed up because if he stayed with her, she already knew what to do. And had to pay $100,000 to fight the lawsuit. Yeah, he stayed. I mean, he stayed with her. Canada is a common law country, so
You're saying she can still go to a divorce court and divorce him?
She can file for the divorce. You
How?
have to respond. You
Yeah,
have
with
to
what?
respond.
Yeah, what does that mean
You're-
though? That doesn't mean
Again,
anything.
I'm informing
What are
you.
you
What does
talking
that
about?
mean? This is how a lawsuit works.
Okay.
She's
A
a
lawsuit.
petitioner.
Okay.
She files. She says, we walked on coals. We went outside.
Yeah.
This was a union. I consider it a marriage. Everybody knows and addresses us as a marriage.
Yeah.
This is in non-common law states. We receive mail at this place. We've been living under the same roof for this many years. You will have to respond to these allegations. Now you're going to have to say on your petition, this is not true. We have an ecclesiastic marriage and a prenup under God, and we live together, but we weren't married. That's a response to the lawsuit, and then you proceed to trial and a hearing.
Is this a lawsuit or a divorce?
Divorce is a lawsuit.
Okay, so I'm curious.
Divorce is a lawsuit.
Can you look this up?
Is
Can
divorce
you
a
file for divorce without ever getting married?
Oh my goodness, you are slow. You can file a lawsuit for anything.
So then it's not
So
a
anybody
divorce.
can sue you for anything.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
but-
So if you go into there and she
So they're
says
just
that-
suing you?
Yes, it's
Okay,
a
but
lawsuit.
that's not a divorce. Come on,
says-
dude.
It's a lawsuit.
Can we pull this up? Can you file for a divorce without getting married? Divorce is a legal process that ends in legally recognized marriage.
If you never obtained a marriage license and your marriage was never registered, summarized according to the state law,
Yeah,
the
you can.
courts have no marriage to dissolve. You're full of
Hold
shit.
on for a
You're just
second.
saying
Hold
that
on.
they can. Yeah,
No.
you're full of shit.
Listen,
they can just
they
sue
have-
you for whatever.
You said they have no marriage to the
Yeah,
to
you're
dissolve.
saying that
You
they're just
still
gonna
have to
sue you.
No. You still have
Come
to.
on.
You still have to respond to the lawsuit.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to the divorce court,
You
dude.
do.
No,
That's
you
where
don't.
You file the response.
No,
you still have
that's
to
not
go.
a divorce court.
That is the divorce.
No,
court.
it's not. It's a
That
court
is
of.
the
It's
divorce court.
it's the
Listen.
circuit court or some shit, not the divorce court.
Listen, this is
You got
this
caught in 4K.
That's,
You're
that's
full of shit.
ChatGPT. That's ChatGPT.
You're full
in this
of it, dude.
situation,
It's
here.
true. It's true. ChatGPT is not correct most of the time, guys. ChatGPT can full of it, so don't listen to
We
it.
can bring a lawyer in to resolve this and say, can she file for a divorce? You're saying what the
No.
outcome is. Hold on for a second. You're saying the outcome, they can't legally enforce it. That's what you hope the outcome is. You hope the outcome is. You still have to
Dude,
respond.
all you're saying is that a woman can sue you for anything.
Correct.
Yeah, but that's not the same as filing for divorce
Hold on
through
for a
the
second.
divorce courts,
That's
dude.
where they would file it.
No,
would
they
file it
can't.
in-
No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
My gosh. All right. That's where they would file it. In the divorce court.
They
That's
would
where
file a
it there.
lawsuit.
No, they would file it in the family court. Trust me. Now, here's the
family
thing.
court's
Hold on
different,
for a
though.
That's the divorce court.
Wait a second.
Family court is a divorce court.
Wouldn't you have to do that under specific criteria for family court, like a kid's involved or something? You can just
Correct. So, in the
Come
scenario,
on,
hold on for a
dude,
second.
That's not the same
Hold
as
on, hold on,
divorce
hold on for a second.
proceedings. This is
I mean,
ridiculous.
that's
ridiculous.
Listen. The family court is what people call the divorce court. There's no building that says
I agree
divorce
with
court.
that.
You understand that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you have a woman with children
Yeah.
that you say you're not married to. If she files,
Yeah.
you still have to go under family court jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You still have to respond
Because there's children, yes.
because there's children. At that
Yeah.
point, my point is made. She
Yeah.
has filed. They may say the divorce doesn't count.
Yeah.
But now, how do we deal with these children?
Yeah, but that was
those
never-
children. That is a part of marriage. Did you not have children with the woman?
Come on, dude. So if you're not,
That
if
is
you-
a part of
so as long as
marriage.
you don't have children, then they can't do that.
Correct. That's what you're saying. But you're saying
No,
you're
I'm
gonna have
asking.
children.
I'm actually asking.
You're saying they're going to have children, correct?
Yes.
You're going to go to family court
Yes, you could go to family court.
if
yes.
she files for the divorce.
Not for divorce. They could go for
If
like
she
motions
files
for
for child
support or all
support,
sorts of
any
things.
of these-
That's
that
not
is the family
divorce.
court.
Yeah.
When we talk about what men deal with when they deal with marriage and the result is a divorce, one of the things they deal with is child support, also domestic violence, which falls under the family court. So you cannot be married. Oh
you
my
have
God.
you have a problem here with this.
Listen,
so
that
I
can
agree.
fall under
I
the
agree
family
that
court.
if you have children, that could go through the family court system. Nobody ever disputed that,
Okay.
though.
So you're still dealing with issues,
but
right?
hang on. But that's the different one. That's different than filing for divorce. You can't file for divorce if you're never married. That's
Now
one.
you're going to
And
child
two,
support, yes.
and hang on. Two, the second problem here
I
is
think Coach Greg Adams, I think he's conflating this. Like you can still, you can go through the family court and just fight against the court because of the kids, right? But even if she filed for divorce, that would not go anywhere because there's not a legal document here in the United States. Here in the United States, I have to say, not in other countries. I don't know how other countries work, but here in the United States, even if you file a divorce with the court, they're gonna strike it because there's no divorce law. There's no divorce document. I mean, there's no marriage document. However, it depends on the situation. If there's some common law thing going on, maybe you have to go to the family court and just defend yourself. That's a different argument.
The reason that men usually lose their custody when it comes to divorce and divorce court is because women plot. They plot escape hatches. So what they do
for years, and this is important, guys. The plot is important. Females usually, when they want to have a divorce, they usually just have this plot just already in hand, year and a half before they submit the divorce paperwork.
is they go, okay,
Of course they do.
look, you know, I'm going to take 2 years, make sure that you're fucking destitute on the way out, and then I'm
Yep.
filing in divorce court.
Correct.
You're going to get hit over the head from what happens in divorce court. It's a whole different ball game, though. If it's the case that you have children with a woman and she goes and she files for custody, you're actually in a much better position to get custody at that
Correct.
point than if it was the case that you were married through the state, dude. Much better
Well,
positioned.
We don't know that.
No, no,
for a
100%
second.
that's
you
the
don't,
case.
You don't know that. You're guessing. Can you
No,
give me some
yeah,
data
there
on that
is
one?
actually
Or
data.
there's data on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Okay, go ahead and look it up. But we don't know that.
Yes,
That's just a
if
guess.
it's the case, hang on. If it's the case,
If you're not
'cause
legally
that
married.
men who fight for custody,
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
But they're in a better position to fight for custody if they're not going through the divorce court. If they're only getting motions for child support or
Well, we
child
know.
custody.
Actually, I'll tell you something. If you are not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse. If you're not legally married, that's true. If you're not legally married to, let's just take a baby mom, baby dad situation. If he's not legally married to them, they typically fare a little bit worse.
Yes.
in custody cases.
I just said that.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're still faring worse. If
No,
they're
they're
married,
faring better, right?
if they're not married,
yes, they'd be
their
faring
baby mom.
better.
No, they would actually fare worse.
How?
Well, ask any guy that's been in court. We can look at this. When they are not legally married to
Yeah.
the woman, they go through a custody battle.
Yeah.
When they're legally married, they do better getting better custody.
Yes, men get better custody.
When
So
they're
that would be a
legally
better
married.
outcome.
If they're not legally married,
Yes.
typically they fare worse getting custody
Why?
because they're not married to the woman. This is typically it just depends on jurisdiction.
It's because of the
It's-
unplanned nature of it.
Correct.
But if it's
Exactly.
planned-
but if it's planned, we don't know.
No, we do know,
The judge
actually.
doesn't know.
Hang on.
How do they know?
We do.
So now you're saying
Nope.
you're going in there
Hang on,
to
hang
use
on.
the we're not legally married, but we're married.
Here's how we can logically. I think I can actually logically demonstrate this, and I think you'll agree. Okay, so the reason that men tend to fare bad in custody disputes and in divorces is because it's unexpected. So usually they're getting hit with it, and it's unexpected. Even if it should be expected, because it's unexpected, they have time to
Typically.
plot, they have time to plan, this kind of thing.
Domestic
right?
violence
And so they
issues.
can they can
Correct.
hit them with it.
Right.
That's and it's
That's normally what happens.
yeah. That's
You
normally
can't mitigate that. Or are you suggesting you can?
You can
Okay.
mitigate. You can mitigate it. Here's how you can.
You're saying that the family court is not going to recognize that is ecclesiastic, I think you want to say, marriage in court. They will recognize it in the state marriage. I don't know about that. You sure about that? So even if you don't go through marriage certificate, they will still recognize it in the state marriage, or you give it the argument that they need to have a marriage to really recognize the divorce.
Mitigate it. If you're in a church, you have
52 things. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you have the ecclesiology, the ecclesiastic community, the community actually supports you when you're going through these problems of
They're not going
divorce.
to be in court with you.
No, they actually help you with funding. They help you with
They're
everything.
not going to be in
Yes.
court with you. They're not going to be.
They
in
don't
court
need
with
to
you.
go
They
to
don't have
court
the-
with you.
So
Money
you're gonna
is
be-
the what talks, man, and bullshit walks.
Exactly. I agree with that. That I can agree with.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to fund
Well, I
that.
tell-
to
they
get
do
you.
all the time.
Listen,
They
all right,
assist
the
them with custody
125
agreements all the
these
time.
small marriages, I
Yeah.
would love to see these out. They should do a documentary on them.
They do.
All right, so we can see.
We do
them.
have stats
But
on this.
Most people aren't under these, so we can say that's clearly the case.
But
in
that-
those
so what?
situations here,
So
under those
what, though?
situations, you have men that are not under this veil of, I don't know what it is, okay, that do fare worse when they're not married. Okay, that's typically what's going to happen.
Because the childbirth itself is unplanned. But if they're with a woman long term
Yes.
as a partner, they actually do better.
Absolutely, and I was
even
one of
if
those,
they're not
and I was
married.
one of those.
Even if they're not married.
Typically,
Typically, yes.
That's but
So
sometimes
it's still
not
better
the situation.
outcomes. You're just talking about the unplanned nature.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean, mostly, though.
Because there's a lot of factors here. I mean, we can make things black and white. The guy doesn't have the ability to maintain the custody. He lives in another city.
Because
there's
some
so many
plans.
other factors.
Because
There's
some
so
plans. I
many
knocked
other
her
factors.
up. That's
No.
different than I was with her for a couple of years.
They were in a relationship. All right.
Yeah, but knocking her up usually happens early.
It could. It typically does.
Because
that's where men.
does.
And at that point, now they were raising the kid for 2 or 3 years. They were together.
But this goes
and
to
then
my
it happens.
point.
But it also goes to my point. In this situation here, right here, we have a lot of things that we like to make black or white and easily solve.
No, it's all nuanced. I agree.
Okay, very much nuanced.
Yeah.
At that point, then you're just telling us, oh, I'll just throw this aspect of religion on top of it and it'll fix it. Or it'll mitigate. It'll mitigate it. It'll mitigate. It doesn't eliminate it. It just makes it less. You can't eliminate it.
But
It just
even
makes it less likely, but they're still going to go
even
through
if
it. Once they go through it, what do you do?
But when you said a marriage was a great institution, right? Did that eliminate all divorce?
It was very low.
Well, right.
There you go,
So it's
there
just,
you go,
you're
there you
only
go.
talking about
It was actually
mitigation.
lower.
You're
It was
only
low-
talking about mitigation.
It was actually lower than the percentages that you're showing me.
I agree.
Way lower.
I agree.
Way lower.
But you're still talking about mitigation.
But we're also talking about white people were least likely to get married under these scenarios too.
Yeah, but we're still talking about mitigation.
Exactly.
And so
at
if
that
you
point-
say it's great and it's mitigating, and I say, okay, I want to move towards mitigation, we can never eliminate it. You can't hold that against me.
I can't, and you can't hold it against
I
me for
can.
telling men to avoid the situation, especially since, and I'll add this on, especially since we can know statistically women are getting married at an older age. That is increasingly high. We can look at 40 years ago, it was 20 years old. We can look at today, it's roughly around 28 and 30.
But there's some nuance there too. And
There's a lot of nuance
well,
there.
Hang on. Here's
Hold
a
on for
big
a second,
one.
but I was
go ahead.
completing a
Go
point
ahead,
here.
Go ahead.
Okay. At that point, you're seeing a lot of women choosing to not marry. You're also seeing a lot of men choosing to not marry those women that are older.
Yeah.
So how do you get those people to have an ecclesiastic marriage?
I'll help you.
When you're telling them, these people are saying, I'm not marrying that woman.
Yep.
She's a stepmom, or so no, she's a single mom.
Yep, I
she's
understand.
older.
Yep.
She's past her prime. How are you getting that marriage rate up?
This is the
with
best.
the ecclesiastic
So I
marriage?
think that's a great question. It's one
Other
that
than saying that they got to be virgins.
and it's
'cause
one
that's not
that
how it
I
works.
need, and it's one that I do need to answer to. So here's the answer to this. The reason that women are getting married older is because they're deferring their childbearing years for college. That's why.
That's obvious. Okay.
I mean, literally, that's
Sure.
the only reason, and one of
we
the
know
prime
this.
reasons that the birth rate is collapsing is because they're having children older because they defer those childbearing years.
Like I
for
said,
later
that's
in
not
life.
fruitful and multiply. That's just adding.
So we can look at this and we can. Well, it is still multiplying.
Okay, all
but
right,
anyway,
yeah.
The point is when we're talking about, we go back to this whole propaganda thing, right?
You're not going to get a disagreement on this.
Hang on.
Okay.
Let's see, Alpha, the first stone, you're saying that marrying a single mother with 2 baby daddy is a bad deal. Full stop. Yeah, it is. Usually it's a bad deal. I agree with you. The only caveat will be if she lost her husband through deletion, right? She's a widow because she didn't initiate. She don't have that muscle of initiating the ending of a relationship. That will be the only caveat.
The idea is, should we have propaganda that says, women, you go to school, we'll give you student loans, right? We'll back the entire thing for free, and we promise you a lucrative STEM career, right?
Correct.
When the opposition is actually true. Or do we run campaigns that say no STEM funding, you got to pay for your own fucking college, okay? Or you can choose the more traditional path.
How
which-
likely is this to happen?
It's actually pretty likely. If you look at the idea of STEM fund or funding for college, right? The idea of student loans and things like this, women are already trying to check out in the worst way because they can't have kids later in life.
But they're not getting married though. They're not
They
turning
do.
that
They do.
in.
They
They're
just
not
do.
turning that
They
in to
do
get married.
college first, and this is, by the way, where the body count comes from. The big body counts are coming because they spend all this time in college
colleges.
getting fucked.
Very
right?
obviously.
And
This
so-
is
and
obvious.
so-
Yes.
And then afterwards, right? They get their
You
little
see what I'm
lucrative
saying? They do agree with a lot of the talking points. They do agree. Both of them, they agree with a lot of stuff. What they don't agree is the prescription. The prescription. That's the problem. It's the prescription. When they get to the prescription, that's when they start, getting to each other. That's the problem.
career, and then they want to settle down.
They find us.
But it seems to me very obvious that if you wanted to do something about this, you would want to create the incentive for women to not go to college and instead use their childbearing years to get married, because that's what we always did.
I've actually created this scenario before, and it's very opposed to where society's going. Society's really not showing that they're showing trends of this. You might have those little spatters here and there, but if you have a woman that says, okay, I can't afford to go to college, she becomes a Walmart clerk. Hold on for a second. She becomes a Walmart clerk, an assistant manager. I'm looking at those particular demographics. They're not jumping into marriages. All right, maybe in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they're still out here hoe-hopping. All right, they're still finding a variety.
But here's why.
Yeah.
So women are they're getting more college degrees than men because men have a viable option for making income, which is easy.
Correct.
I mean, it's actually harder, but it's easy and for them.
We can survive.
And the idea is if you're a tradesman, you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, especially in modernity because there's an incompetency crisis in the United States.
Absolutely.
So if you're good at what you do, you're going to make a lot of money.
And
that's just it.
Women are less likely
to go. And even if you're bad at it, you'll make a lot of money. But the college thing created a situation we were not aware was going to happen, even though I could easily have predicted it, which is oversaturation. Women only go for a couple things, and they're sociological related mostly. They're not really for STEM fields, and that's who's hiring is the big STEM fields. Everything else oversaturated. That's why women end up in government NGOs and government think tanks as psychologists because the overage has to go somewhere. But that's saturated too. So you're seeing actually a trend begin to emerge of that trending down because of oversaturation. So if that's the case, these women don't want to go work at Walmart as the assistant manager, right? And if you had said propaganda plan, and the propaganda plan is simple enough, the idea here is just don't defer your childbearing years for college. Instead, we'll help you with incentives so that you have children younger and you get married younger. You will almost eliminate this entire problem. And yes, not only is it viable, but we should be moving towards that. This idea that we shouldn't get married rather than just create the conditions for which marriage is great is exactly what we should be doing.
And under those conditions, it would make sense because you're getting women that can multiply, that can
But it's only the churches that could get this done.
No, not really. But in this situation here, I agree. I agree with that scenario. I proposed that many years ago. However, you're going to be hard pressed for women to actually pick that. Although they're not going to college, they're trending down in college. They're probably not going to complete
that's where
one of these liberal arts degrees. What you're probably going to see them do, they're still going to Coachella. They're still selling coochie. They're out here being sugar babies. They're going to OnlyFans.
Some of them are oversaturation.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll get oversaturated. Now you kick the can down the road to what the next thing is. I don't see the women seeing that college is prohibitive to them jumping into traditional marriages. I don't see that trend.
But that was the same argument which made in the 90s to men, that they would not that the trades were going by the wayside and they all needed to get a college degree. When in fact the opposite ended up happening. Now they're all moving towards trades in lieu of the college degree because of oversaturation.
Right.
There's no reason for us to believe that if it's the case that women have the option and the propaganda behind it for them to get married at a younger age, right? Defer that with incentives. We can give all sorts of incentives for this.
Would you give for this?
Oh man. First of all, you can give tax exemptions, for instance. You could say
these women don't pay taxes even when they make millions.
But the thing that's
they don't catch up to them, but they don't pay the taxes.
They do have to pay property tax on the houses they get from their husbands when they divorce them. So
if they get married, then
the thing is what you could do is in Poland did this, and they had a pretty good degree of success, up almost 0.5%, moving and trending towards almost 1%, which is huge in such a short amount of time. They gave tax exemption, and you can pull this up if you want. They gave tax exemption if you had more than X number of children. I think it was 3 for life. Tax exempt for life.
Yes.
Now the thing is that's huge. Now from a woman's perspective, why would a woman go for that? Because she's tax exempt for life too. And the thing is, it's the same reason they're going to college, which is they want the money. The same reason they're selling their pussy online, because I want the money, is also a thing which you can incentivize them to do the other direction.
You could.
Because they want the money.
It sounds nice,
and it's worked. It's worked.
It's worked in Poland.
Yeah. In the places it's been tried, the incentives work.
Is that a comparable nation to the United States who highly depends on women being taxed?
Well, so did Poland.
It's not the same size.
Well, I mean,
we're a very large country. We're a very large country.
But it's all scalable, right?
It could be scalable.
It's all scalable.
The thing that's kind of like when people said Sweden did this, and you're talking about 1 million people versus 100 million people. I understand.
We're going to look at the models where they exist to see
it's
how
a
they
nice
compare.
Model. Yeah,
and it's a better model.
Yes, it's a good model. It would be a good start.
It's a start.
It would be a good start.
Something.
Could you think people would probably try to manipulate that? You said they have 3 kids from the same dad or from different.
You have to be married.
You would have to be married. Okay, so this would be a nice opportunity for us to bring something that Poland has tried to a place where we don't have that same structure. They're somewhat democratic socialists.
No.
We're somewhat
Not at all. They're
capitalist.
very conservative.
They're
very
conservative,
capitalist.
but yeah, they have that, but they're also
No, they're very capitalist.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but typically we're a lot more capitalist than them. Would you
I
say
don't
that?
know. I don't
We're
know
a
if
lot
that's
more
the case.
capitalist than
Like
Poland.
Eastern
All
Europe
right,
has
we're-
become very, very based. Eastern Europe
Okay.
has become
all
very
right, but we
based.
can probably say 200, 350 million people versus Poland size,
It's much smaller, yes.
12 million.
But that's what
All right, this would
scalability
be,
is for.
I mean, this would be the size, not even half of California at this particular point, but that you're scaling to.
Yeah,
It could
scalability
be
works that
scalable,
way.
yeah.
'cause
It could.
scalable.
It's like polls, right? When they do polls for political elections, they have a very small sample, but that sample give you like a trend. Right? It's the same thing. The thing is that a lot of these northern countries, even European countries, they're homogeneous. So it would not even work in the United States because we have become a non-homogeneous country. So that's the problem right there.
38 million in Poland.
38 million, quite more than I thought. That
Yeah.
would be the state of California and plus Oregon, maybe, or something like that.
Well, and California is bigger than a lot of countries.
It is.
That's
It's
the case.
Fifth largest
Yeah.
GDP.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, I'll give you that one. It's a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it to
Not
you.
just that. If we look at the Chinese model really fucked this up. They decided that they were going to do the one-child policy. Remember that?
And they screwed that up.
Well, not only did they screw it up, but they have almost given themselves imminent doom because their birth rate has dropped down so low. Now, what are they doing? They're giving incentives for women to have children.
Exactly.
Now, we do it here, too, to a
We
limited
do that
degree
here.
with tax credits, right? But the tax credits, you're not going to incentivize a woman who can sell her pussy on OnlyFans
Exactly, for way much.
to have a
Yeah.
child for $3,000 a year.
And sometimes they even go on EBT and WIC, and they still use the system. So you're still finding ways where people will manipulate the system. And we're
that's the
seeing
whole
people
point.
that
We're
are
trying to
master
get rid of
manipulation.
that, right?
We would try to get rid of it. It would be a nice try. I'll give you that one. That might be a
No. We have. I think we have the power to do so. Listen, at the end of the day, it's men that want to decide whether or not we keep the system that we have. It's men that want to really decide whether or not we want to keep the system. We have to understand this principle, guys. We have to understand the principle. And the better and the quicker we can understand the principle, more things can be done. More things can be done.
Possible and more than possible. And it's better than the idea of just continual degeneracy.
Well, I'm not promoting degeneracy. However,
Sex outside of marriage?
well, who is that degenerate to? I mean, that's your
Right.
Bible.
So
I mean,
Christian.
most of your Christians, your traditional. Hold on for a second. Let
Yeah.
me. Most of your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous. all
Sounds
right?
like
so
sex
that
out of
sounds like
marriage is
normal.
good.
So
Sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
it sounds like it's really bad. But
Yeah.
those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to have.
You think
or
that
the
this is
overwhelming-
mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not
If
going to
you're-
mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or
Yeah,
finding around the
well,
world. You can
but-
hardly mitigate that. I mean,
know-
you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we can put
right, these are the church
OnlyFans.
women.
You can outlaw OnlyFans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big major swing at. They're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Do you know that the
they're not
people versus
outlawing
Larry,
anything.
the people versus Larry Flint was not long ago when
Mm-hmm.
the normalization of the porn used to be outlawed. Okay, it
But
used to be
people still
outlawed all over the United States, and guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men and the effects it had on marriage were negligible. You could still get it to some degree underground,
Right.
But it was tough and it was illegal. Why do you think?
And people still went to the.
Why do you
they
think
went
it
to
is?
that they? I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
this. If you're old enough, they
Go
still
ahead.
went to that VHS area or the area of the magazines
was
where
after
they drew
Larry
the.
Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of one
that
of the
was
things that
after
they
they
said.
legalized it. Before
Exactly.
they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide and open. It's in the open.
Yeah, so
now,
we need to
where we at?
eliminate it. Yes, we
didn't eliminate Playboy and Penthouse.
That's
It
after
still
Larry
exists.
Flint. Larry Flint was Penthouse.
I understand that, but it's still here. I mean,
yeah,
you didn't
he
get
won
rid
the
of it.
case.
Correct.
But
so
we
there
can
you're,
we're
how you going to beat
unwinding.
OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's
Again,
what Roe
you're
v.
trying
Wade
to-
was. The
right,
idea
you're
of Roe v. Wade was
By
to
the time
unwind.
you beat OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm gonna just let you know.
Yeah, you know what?
Right, the
That's-
damage is pretty
it's
much
really
done. That
funny.
would
It's
take
like-
30 or
That's
40
not-
years.
that's
Okay,
Golden
well, after
Doom.
a war, the damage is done. It might take 30 or 40 years, but you know what? The thing is we don't quit because it might take some time.
I didn't ask you to quit. What I'm asking you is, you're trying to solve the problem today of getting traditional.
Both.
Today.
Traditional
Today, tomorrow.
I understand that. Tomorrow will be a better day. But at this point, you're looking at traditional conservative women that have thrown their punanis out. Some
Sure.
of them are single moms.
Well, they're not traditional.
All right.
But yeah.
Again, they're not. But this exists. And unfortunately, the traditional conservative movement or
And it's full of
these
feminists, I
women,
agree.
Yeah, these women come in as feminists,
Yep.
liberals, and they cosplay, trick these men into marriages, say that they're going to marry them, not in the secular, and then they follow you, and then they run right back to the court.
no,
Now,
the
this
opposite.
does happen quite a bit, even
Not
in the
from
Christian
us, no.
church.
Not from us.
Well, I don't know how many you are. We still haven't determined.
But the thing is funny,
This still happens. So a lot of men get caught off guard because they see her thumping a Bible. Oh, she's one of us. And these women have figured out how to cosplay.
And again, I think this is a good question, right? And notice I've answered all of yours. You haven't answered any of mine. But
which
the thing
one
is,
did I answer?
Yeah, can I ask a couple?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the progressive mantra is that sexual liberation, this is what feminism was based around, was sexual liberation. That was the big one.
Correct.
That their bodies were being controlled, not just from abortion, but from who they chose to have sex with because they were attracted to them, this and that. Marriage was a complete trap for women. It was self-destructive to them, this and that. What is the distinction in your message in that one to men?
What's my message?
Well, it seems to me that your message is that marriage is simply too dangerous and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it, it's perfectly fine. And it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it would be safer.
Hang on.
Yeah.
That seemed like the same exact message that we got in the 70s from feminists.
If you frame it that way, it would be. But
So you're
it's
a
just
feminist?
Hold on for a second. It would be two different outcomes. You're protecting wealth, access to children. You're actually being able to control who has your children.
That's
who
what they
doesn't.
wanted.
Exactly. Well, no, they want to be able to kill their children and abort them.
They wanted
all right?
to be able to determine
we're
what happened with their
We're trying to
children.
figure out where we have the control legally. They're having the control over their body. These are two different.
And this is where Coach Red Adams really, he flashed very well here. He's doing very well. This is his territory. But if he started arguing like this earlier regarding what do we control, where men have right, this is where I would prescribe, this is where I would go, this is where I would change, he will probably make a better arguments, man. For it took too much for him to start talking like this.
But it's
These are two different outcomes.
So what's the
legal
delineating
outcome
factor
is what the men are trying to figure
from
out.
a 1970s feminist to your messaging right now? What is the difference?
They're trying to control their bodies.
So are you.
I'm trying to control legally, financially. These are two different things. These
Those are
two
your
different
body-
outcomes.
you're controlling your
No,
bodies.
don't just make it a body.
It's the
now.
same thing.
It's financial. These aren't not my
That's
body.
the same
All right?
arguments they
This is-
made. It's
listen, No,
financial.
you're trying to make it the same. I
It
know you're
is
trying
the
to.
same.
No. You're trying to cram that in. Oh, finances is your body. I'm trying to control the legal outcomes.
So were
related
they.
to that. Related to finances. Not related to me being liberated and sleep with who I want to. The first goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around. That's the feminist goal. Those are two different things.
They make the
You're
same
trying to make
claim.
it-
They make the same claim. Their
There
claim
never
is
was financially.
We're
It was to
not
sleep
telling women
around.
that they need to go sleep
Those are
around.
two different
We're not
things.
telling women they need to go sleep around. We're just telling them they can if they want to. Isn't that the same as your message?
If they want to, some men don't sleep around.
Yeah.
Some men
Same-
don't sleep around.
it's just
not the
feminism
same
for men,
thing.
dude.
No, that's what you want to call
And there's
it.
no
And that's a-
prescriptions. It's just feminism for men.
How's that not a prescription? I get to control who I'm with.
Said
I
the
get to
feminist.
control where the law is.
Said the
and hold on
feminist.
for a second. And I get to control where my finances are, not the state.
Said the feminist.
No.
The same things
That's
you were
not.
fighting
No.
for.
That's not. It's not the
We
woman's
don't have a bank
finances.
account. We can't decide what to vote.
That's-
We can't
that's
decide
a
what to do with
second-
our
that's a
children. We're men's
secondary-
property.
That's
It's the
a
same
secondary.
shit.
That's a secondary issue.
Oh,
That is
man.
a secondary issue.
the same
You tried to
issue.
compare it. You tried to compare it, and then say finances is body. I mean, come on.
That's
man.
what
I mean,
they were
you're really
fighting.
trying
They
to.
were fighting
You're
for the
really
same
trying
thing.
to cram this.
They were
in
like, we
to
want
fit
credit
your
cards.
narrative.
We want to be able to control our
That's
bank
nice.
accounts.
That's
We want to be
very
able to
much
control
a
our
secondary,
finance.
tertiary issue. We're talking about what you framed
It's
it
the
as.
primary issue.
The primary issue for
For
me
you.
is finances. It's not to sleep around. All right,
Yeah.
that would be two different things.
But
I'm
if
not
it's-
maintaining my independence and staying single,
But if
so
it's
I
the
can sleep
case-
around. That's not the primary
Yeah,
issue.
I understand,
It is
but-
for
but
finances.
if
So
it's-
those are two different
No,
arguments.
they're not.
You
and
want
I'll
to make it
explain-
the same for
Look,
you? Go ahead,
Let me give the explanation.
please.
If every single argument you make, even if you say these ones over here are tangential, but I agree with them, is the same exact argument of the 1970s bra-burning feminist, whether or not it's your
That's what you
hang on.
believe.
Whether or not it's the primary goal,
Make it
Hang
work
on,
for
hang
you.
on,
Oh,
man.
he's
Make it work
scared.
for you.
Yeah.
Even if it's the case, it's not the primary goal; it's a secondary goal. They're still the same
You
goals.
framed
Hang
it
on,
as the
man.
number
Let
one
me at
goal.
least make the argument
Please
before you
do.
respond.
Reach on in there, man.
So the thing is,
dig deep.
is if you say, "Hey, man,
Dig deep.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
just-
about financing," it's like,
See, now
okay,
he's,
well,
he's just being, you know what I'm saying? This is the problem. Like Like, I don't know why Coach Greg Adams is doing that. Like, he's just coming in, coming out, being kind of disrespectful. I really don't know why. I just simply don't know why. When they are both in the same equation, they're in the same. They are basically in the same space. They're basically sharing the same concern for a lot of these problems. I just really don't understand why Coach Greg Adams cannot just simply stick to the issues, man.
You know, the 1970s feminists, we can't have credit cards, we can't control our bank accounts, we can't control our own financial independence from men. That's what they're fighting for. You want the same thing, independence from women to control your own finances.
We were talking about promiscuity.
Almost done with the argument, then he can rebut it. Next thing is, when you're talking about promiscuity, sure, sleep with whoever you want, right? It's under your purview because you can do whatever you want with your body. Same exact argument that they were making. They're not the property of men, right? They should have complete sexual liberation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are the same degenerate structured systems which led us to where we are currently right this second, except you're just providing them for men instead of women. It's like, can't we at least at some level look at this and say, look, just because these crazy women are doing these insane things, we can actually, as men, do something about this prescriptively without adding the degeneracy. Can't we do that?
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
There's a such thing as, medicine. You might take a medication to solve one issue and you get side effects. You're telling me the side effects equals what the men wanted as to solve the problem to heal. That's the reason they took the medication. Now you're telling me about all these side effects. A side effect of feminism being able to control their body is to also have finances, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with the men. The men didn't intentionally go in there to say, this is for our bodies. What? We went in there to say, this is to control our finances. Then as a result of that, there could be some other things that happen as a result.
Yeah, but if the results are the same as feminism, who
it's
cares?
not the same.
What's the difference in
not going to be
result?
the outcome, because at that particular point, the man has controlled his finances. He's outside of the state system.
That's what the feminists argued for themselves.
That's a completely different reason. You can have
It's the same fucking outcome.
You can have the same outcome, and it could be for different reasons. All right, you're saying an outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can have two different reasons and have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s progressive
but that's
feminists
not the intent.
For men because so you intended it to be different.
But you wanted to compare. You just simply wanted to compare it as the same.
It's the same.
It's apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges because you didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way, even though that's the same result.
You framed it that way to fit your narrative. That's your narrative.
It's not my narrative. You just agreed that what I said is true.
I didn't agree with anything.
You did. You just said it's the same comparable institution.
This is the outcome. If I choose to do something for different outcomes, it's not the same.
It's just wild.
Just because certain things line up.
It's just
the way you want. And you're cherry picking, by the way, and you're very good at it. You're cherry picking the good things, the bad things, and then you want to reframe traditionalism and call up the traditional church. Well, the traditional church also had the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
No, that was the
Is that what you want to do?
Okay, Protestant church.
Okay, well, it's the church. And at that particular point, if you want to go ahead and cherry pick what's good and what's bad.
And by the way, they were
that's
Democrats.
A great Snapchat.
Those were Democrats.
Exactly. And of course, they were Democrats.
And
certainly
not
what
Republicans.
The Republicans. Okay, well, now where are we at? There's going to be Democrats in your church? No Democrats.
Not usually. So there are some, of course.
Of course there will be. So there are going to be people that have the same
but what does the
ideology.
KKK have to do with anything?
You're snapshotting traditional world that literally you can just pinpoint 10 years. Yeah. And if I go back 10 years before, it was non-existent. You're reaching, you're creating a pie in the sky. And then if I fast forward 15 years later, it don't exist. Now you're trying to bring it back out of the dead like you're Billy Graham. I know that doesn't exist.
What doesn't exist?
It is not the normal traditional church. You're screenshotting things. You're picking out a period of history to say we need to take it back from here. That period was only a small percentage of
trying to give a holistic view. Not just of
You're
the
giving
entire,
a religious view, not a holistic view. Well, it's very religious.
Look, most of history is full of religion. I'm
and
sorry,
a whole bunch of religious people killing people. But go ahead.
Hey, what's up with that? What do you want? So it's just, it's the Muslims during the Crusades wanted to just eliminate a lot of Christians. So what are we supposed to do? Just take it, I guess. Like, these are not very valid arguments. I don't know what's going on with Coach Greg Adams. Like he need. I think he could have just be more prepared when it comes down to this and come with the idea of debating and not trying to just one up the conversation, right? Great opportunity to really just have some important issues being tackled. Now I feel like with a conversation like this, it feels like the conversation's not moving anywhere.
Go ahead.
That accounts
Keep
for,
it going.
That accounts to,
all right, a lot of people killing each other, a lot of divorce, and a lot of fornication.
About
Go ahead.
4 to 6% of all wars were religiously based.
How much?
4 to 6%. You can look it up.
All right, I don't care what. That doesn't matter. They kill each other at massive rates. All right, listen. Religion is not the
4 to
answer.
6%.
You guys, you're
no,
trying to tell
degeneracy
me,
and feminism for men.
I
is
didn't
the
say it
answer.
was. You didn't have to live degeneracy if you're non-religious. That's your world.
I
Again,
know.
you always make it fit what you want.
Because it does fit. It is the
doesn't
truth.
fit.
That's what you guys advocate
You're
for.
only good if you're religious. That's ridiculous. All right, you only make good decisions
That's
because you're
crazy, man.
religious.
I don't
That's
know, guys.
ridiculous. That's what you hope. And that's not the case because a lot of people that are in your
Why do you say
hold on for a second.
only? Like, why do you say
Hold
only?
on.
When I talk
you
about outcomes being
you
better
just
than-
admitted
Better.
that there are women that are feminists in your church. Of
course.
Okay, so there's your solution there. You're telling me
So
it's
what?
always better.
It is
it's
always
a
better.
Snapshot. What you're doing is selling men a fantasy of them,
And you're selling them feminism.
I'm not. Well, we can agree to disagree on that,
Well,
but you're
no,
selling them
agree
a
to
fantasy.
disagree, just selling them
and
feminism.
you're selling them a fantasy. All right, a
fantasy
that's
that I
not
have
gonna
data
exist.
to
Matter of fact,
support.
most people will be dead by the time you get even 1 inch closer to whatever you're proposing.
Well,
most
under your-
men will be dead as a doorknob.
Under your
but
proposal,
under your
you have assured that black men will be dead. You said so yourself. There's no fixing it. They will be. That's your prescription.
well, that's the prescription that you heard. What I told black men is to leave that community. The community is not to
Are
be
they
saved.
doomed or not? Like you said.
The black men leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know. Are they?
Yes.
Are black men doomed? Like you said
The
earlier.
black
or
men
not?
that leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know.
They
But
do
are,
very well.
are black men doomed? Like you said earlier. Or
Under
not?
the matriarchy of the black community, yes.
Okay.
Under the scenario that I'm proposing for black men, absolutely not. They thrive.
But that's in the future. What
But
about
that's
right now?
So that's they're thriving right now under
Oh,
your degeneracy
golly,
model.
bro,
All
this
right,
is
they're
crazy.
thriving
No,
right
none
now
of them.
under degeneracy.
Who?
Oh yes,
Who?
You're looking at one right
You're-
now.
you're- what-
You're looking at
so wait a
one.
second.
So that's who.
So let me get
You're
this
looking
right.
at the notorious one right now.
You're
That's
thri-
who.
so-
You want an example?
so men-
Give me your numbers.
Yeah, so men-
You didn't give me your numbers.
men
the
are-
whole damn stream. But
Of
you're
what?
telling me
I gave
who.
you tons.
No, give me your numbers of your ecclesiastic marriage where your pastor on a little house on the prairie is going to prevent
Yeah,
them
we
from
would have
getting
to
legal.
move.
Give me them numbers.
Yeah. Again.
Okay, you're asking me for
How
mine.
many times
I gave
do
you
I have
one.
to explain this?
Come on, man.
So again, when you're talking about just because I don't have polling data for the United States specifically, we can definitely look at other nations where there's ecclesiastical marriages and the divorce rates. That's one. You can do it right now.
No.
The second is this.
You keep
even
changing
if
that.
I
That's moving
grant,
the goalpost.
even if I grant that just because polling data for that specific thing doesn't exist right this second,
Okay.
the polling data for people who are engaged in state marriage is still lower. That makes my
Okay, that's
argument
great.
much more compelling
That's
than
great.
yours.
That's all fine and dandy when you're comparing 125 people to millions of people.
No, these
All
are
right,
millions
what
of
number?
people
What
in
number?
the state.
What's the number
Of
people
what?
that participate?
Of what? Which thing?
I keep asking you this. You never give me the
I've
number.
already
I
told you 50 times there's no polling data.
Exactly. You don't have a number.
But I do have
It's
numbers
a pie in the
of
sky. It's a
people-
fantasy.
Dude,
You've been selling people a fantasy.
do you realize that
I love it, though. You
It
know,
makes,
listen,
you make my point stronger, not worse.
A fantasy?
If it's the case that people are engaged in state marriage right this second and are part of traditional churches and their divorce rate is lower, it
That's
has
fine.
to logically follow that if they were not engaged in state marriage, the divorce rate would be even lower.
You're talking about getting hit over the head 30% to 50%.
Crazy, bro. Yo, this is crazy, man. I'm trying to hold myself together here, bro. This is crazy. You're telling me if somebody hit you 30 times over the head, here you have Andrew talking about if you don't get married through the state, the divorce rate will go lower. And then Coach Greg Adams comes in and say, if you're telling me if you get hit over the head 30 times, this is crazy.
Okay, that's great.
It's
You're talking about getting hit over the head 30% to 50%. Okay, that's great.
It's
I'll
huge.
give you that.
That's huge.
I'll give
Yo,
you
that's
that.
crazy,
the difference
man.
between 150,000 people. Yet you're telling me you have a better solution
No,
to
it's more than
mitigate that.
150,000.
Hold on. You're giving me a mitigating better than that 30%.
That's way
That's
more
what
than
you're saying.
150,000, dude.
Where's that solution for the better than the 30%? I've been asking for it. You can't tell me how many people that you got under these
but
notorious
there's no
contracts that don't
I
have
can
a stake.
logically demonstrate it for you. There's no
I
polling
need you to
data
get
for
that
it. So
number.
what?
Get that number. That would be a great
When I
so
asked
you can
you-
tell the audience. Hold on
Yes.
for a second.
I'll tell
you can
them.
tell the audience
Okay.
how many people that you're going to prevent from busting out this ecclesiastic contract with your little house on the
It's not a
prairie,
contract.
whatever it is that you're doing. If you could tell your men how many people you have doing it and you prevented them from getting divorced and losing their kids under custody, please tell us.
Yeah. So
Otherwise, it's a fantasy.
let's respond again. Do you have the polling data for how many of the black men you've personally helped?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see it.
Hundreds of thousands
Let's
right now.
see it.
Hundreds
Let's see
of
the polling
thousands.
data.
Hey,
Hundreds of
everybody
thousands.
in the chat.
Where's the polling
Press
data?
1. We're going to do it right now live.
That's
We're gonna do it live.
scientific
Everybody
polling.
press 1.
That's polling
if you're
data?
a Coach Greg Adams disciple,
That's polling data.
If you follow me for the last
You don't
8
have
years,
hundreds of thousands of
press
people in your
1.
chat, dude. Give me a break.
Press 1 if you can see it. Look. You see that?
Yeah. Where's
Oh,
your
no, you don't want to
polling
look.
data?
You don't want to look. Look at this.
Where's the polling data?
Coach gang represent.
Do you have
You see it
scientific
right here?
polling data?
That's more than your ecclesiastic contracts. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. Everyone in the Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put 1 in the chat. That's scientific polling data,
Go
says
ahead,
Coach
go ahead.
whoever.
I know
it
you
is.
don't want to hear it. I thought you was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on, Andrew, man.
That's not
I thought we
polling
were better.
data.
I thought we were better
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, doofus.
Okay,
What are you
pull-
talking about?
You gonna call
That's
me
not
a doofus?
polling
Hey,
data.
were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number, and I'm the doofus. You can't even give me a number.
I gave
under
you
your
hard-
full data.
dude.
Wait, where's your army at? What's
Yeah,
the name
pull
of
the
your
chat
group?
up.
What's the name of your group?
The Crucible chat.
The Crucible Army. Go ahead and pull them up and tell them
tell
how
them real
many
quick.
of them are under your
Hang on.
ecclesiastic contract.
And let's make sure we got this straight. How many people are in his live chat right now?
He's got 2,060.
And see how many people are in mine.
Let's go. Pull it up. They should beat me in your ecclesiastic contract. They should floor us
Damn,
in
bro,
the
this is
ecclesiastic
crazy,
contract.
man.
Only 4.3K on Cruise.
Oh,
4,300?
man.
That's like not even double.
Just one.
All right, we're both doing well.
Just one, please. Just one, please.
We're-
and now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's
Where they at?
scientific polling
Oh, there's
data.
crickets over there. Okay.
Just once. Just
There they
one.
go.
I
This is
got
crazy
just one
stuff,
since
man.
it's scientific
Look
data.
at that. See?
There's a couple of twos in there. I want the ecclesiastic contract marriages.
Oh, no.
That's what
You
we're
know,
asking
you
for.
said, who have I helped?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's different.
No, you ask who, for me,
Yeah.
who's followed my prescription.
Crazy,
Yeah.
man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not
who has the
polling data,
This has
dude.
become
I
a
asked you
shit
for
show,
the
man.
ecclesiastic
Oh my God.
contract,
Shit show.
Andrew. This is very simple.
What part of
This
we
is
don't
very-
have the polling data, but I
'Cause
can
you don't have the
logically
numbers.
demonstrate it? Do you
You
not
don't have the
understand?
numbers. You're selling a fantasy.
We do have the numbers.
You're selling a fantasy.
Oh my God, dude, this is
You're selling
so
a
low
fantasy to
tier.
men. And I think what you need to
It's
do
like
is
talking to a fucking wall.
And I hope that all those cancer sticks that you've been smoking will help your ass live long enough to see how far you led men astray. I would love that for you to survive, and I would bless you by the name of God in the Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints that you survive all them goddamn smokes
You
you've
don't
been
follow
out
the
here.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day
all them
Saints.
smokes you have, so you can come out here and live and see how many men
Jesus
you
Christ
led
of
astray.
Latter-day Saints. You follow Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Somebody does.
You
More
don't.
people than that.
Give me a
More
break.
people than the Crucible.
The
More
LDS
people that you
You are not in the LDS church, dude.
More people,
Oh my
more
God.
people than you have under your ecclesiastic contract. I can guarantee you that. All right.
All you have to do is agree to one proposition. Is it the case that you personally think
Not
that
today.
if there is no state contract, you're not win a
Easily.
state contract, your chances of getting divorced are going to decrease? Is that true or false?
If that's true, even if you don't get married, correct. Your chances of getting divorced goes to zero.
That's it. That's it. That's the end of the debate. That's it. Has locked into the that's it.
That's the same thing I said. Don't get married, you don't get divorced. The number one cause of divorce is marriage.
Not
Boy,
I
it
mean,
sounds-
both of Coach Greg Adams is correct. In theory, he's correct. The first cause of divorce is marriage. So he's saying that the prescription is basically this is what it is. Don't get married. That's his prescription. Andrew is saying, no. Get married both through. Don't get married through the state, just separately. That's the prescription with Andrew Wilson. So it's two different prescriptions. I guess the common sense here and the common ground is they both agree that the current state marriage contract is bad. They just have a two different approach on this. One says don't get married, because if you don't get married, you don't get divorced. And the other one say, okay, get married, but do not get married through the state.
A state
it sounds
contract.
No, the number one cause of divorce is marriage. Hey, Andrew, let's just say this, man. Listen.
I thought they could divorce you even if you weren't married to him 5 minutes ago.
No, you went through a ceremony. You went through a religious ceremony. So at that point, they can. But if I never went through a ceremony, they can.
They can sue you for anything by your logic, whether you
No,
went through it or
no.
not.
Don't move the goalposts. I said you went through a ceremony. I didn't. All right, those are two different things, sir.
Which part of I don't really. Again, I don't understand. If it's the case that you
He's
say,
scrambling and scraping for shit right now.
if it's the case that you say
He's
if
scrambling
you're
and scraping for shit right now.
If you're
Look at
married
him.
by the state,
Look at him scrambling.
yeah,
and scraping.
if you're married by the state, if you're married by the state, your chances of marriage or divorce
But if you don't
increase.
get married, your chances of divorce is 0.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Your chances of if you don't
Except
get married,
unless you're
your
cohabitating,
chances
right?
of divorce is
Unless you're
0.
cohabitating.
Depends on where you live.
Yeah. So then it's not
That's common
zero.
law. Not
so
in
you just
California.
lied. It's not
Not in
zero.
California.
So then it's not zero.
What about if you don't cohabitate?
Yeah. Again. So
Again.
now you're moving the goalposts.
No, most of the time. If you read my book, and I bet you can't read. Did you write a book? I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Bro, this is
I wrote a
okay.
book.
My
Okay.
wife wrote a
basically
book,
gave-
and I take all her money though.
Good. Well, that tells me what type of man you are. Holy mackerel.
Oh, come on, Coach Greg Adams. Come on, man. That's not.
Helping
Okay.
your wife out now? What's
To
next?
write- to write
what's
books
next?
that I
What's
profit
next?
from?
If those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get
I'm
back to
pimping-
this.
I'm pimping
Hold
her
on
out
for a
'cause she
second.
wrote a
Hold on for a
book?
second.
What
My
the fuck?
my
What?
prescription for men is
my
no. Hold on for a
prescription
second. No,
is
no,
your
no,
wife
no.
About to write a book.
Yeah, well, I guess YouTube's going well if you're living off your wife's books. All right, what's her name so we can give her some shine to sell some books?
Oh, her name is Rachel Wilson, the author of Occult Feminism. I guarantee it sold more copies than yours, sir.
All right, well, we can
I
look it
don't
up.
think so.
Let's over that now.
I don't
We can
think
look
so.
it up.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think
Look
so.
it up
Now watch
right
this.
now.
Watch this. All right, go ahead.
I want to look it up right now. Now I just want to know.
Now, at this point, what have you done? You're living off the backs of your wife? Oh, my
Damn,
goodness. Is
that-
this traditional
okay,
marriage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just okay. This is getting into weird territory now. This is where things go downhill, man.
Absolutely.
Boy, oh boy, men have fallen. I'm gonna tell you that.
Absolutely.
Men have fallen. It's a
Yeah,
disgrace.
he's going way.
All right,
Man.
You're living off of what? Is this traditional marriage, by the way?
Yes.
Your
It's like they having fun.
wife
But,
is into traditional marriage, and you're living off her finances. God damn. All right, boy, the crucible is falling apart at this particular point,
This is
bursting open at the
crazy.
seams.
You got
Gentlemen,
What's your book called?
free agent lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
I
All
take
right.
all. It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying something you didn't
all
say.
of it. And I spend it on guns.
Hey,
Every
traditional
dime.
marriage sounds great, guys. Traditional
How
marriage
does,
sounds
does that
great.
sound bad? Who would be upset by that? I take all of my wife's money and spend it on guns. He says traditional marriage sounds great,
That's
guys.
traditional marriage. That falls under traditional marriage.
Sure.
Oh boy.
What's untraditional
All
about
right,
it?
That's a great traditional marriage.
It
model.
sounds like great
All right.
traditional marriage to me.
Yeah.
I can't find the numbers, honestly.
Oh,
Well,
that's too bad.
This all happens. Shit happens. But it's a bestseller. Trust me. You should read it.
So's hers.
Yeah.
It's just sold
But
more.
what have you
It's
done?
just sold more.
But what have you done?
I take her money.
0. Exactly, boy. I mean, you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the traditional patriarchy, masculinity here, in live and in living color. But
Yeah,
you
but
can
I
find
don't know why Coach Greg Adams has to go like this, bro. I really don't. It's funny, and I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying this in a weird way, but I don't know why he has to do all this, man. I just simply don't know why. Whether or not, I don't know if this really helps. It might be both of them just trying to alpha each other, kind of a thing. Maybe they will feel respect.
follow him.
but
You can follow me.
I mean, your book is ranked higher on the charts and it has more ratings.
Oops.
Can't find the sales numbers on either.
The sales numbers. are what matters.
Oh. Oh.
Let's see the numbers.
Oh.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
let me see. Rachel Wilson on what's the other one? Is low rank to higher rank. Favors Adams. I don't know how's that. What that does or say, right? 4.6, 4.8, I guess.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
Numbers?
Oops.
Numbers?
I'm higher ranked. More
So,
people have.
let's see
Ooh,
the numbers.
ooh. Come on, man. I don't know. I don't keep the data. I don't know what
You
happened.
don't know how many books you've sold?
Millions.
So millions of books. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
How many books you sold?
You haven't
0.
Let me see here. I'll look it up. Let's say Amazon. So here we have. I think this is Greg Adams. I think. Very good. So we have here what 1,794 ratings, which is very good. 4.8. Remember, this is targeting a demographic which is just men going MGTOW, and then the occult feminism. Rachel Wilson, right here. So the rating is a little lower. The rating is a little lower. So the rating is a little lower. So I think Andrew lost this one. I think Andrew lost that one.
Oh,
Millions
you
of
sold
books.
zero
You're
goddamn
just
books.
lying and coping, dude.
You listen. I'm higher ranked.
Yeah, you sold millions of
Hey, but
books.
look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Numbers guy. I
Okay,
got higher
where's
rank.
the numbers?
Higher rank. More.
This doesn't say a lot. This doesn't say a lot because you can have a higher ranking with. The thing is that he has more reviews, though, and that does help with a higher rating. That does help.
No, how many you've
Look at
sold?
more people have rated the.
So that suggests, let's say the free agent lifestyle, Men Guide in Peace, I think has sold an estimated of 34,000 to 170,000 copies. That's a lot of copies. That's a lot of copies. That's a lot of copies. Now let's say, what about the Occult Feminism by Rachel Wilson?
book.
Yeah, and
Free
get-
agent
you
lifestyle
can-
for life.
And guess what? You can definitely brigade
For-
your own.
Yeah, so it's 9,000 to 45,000. So hey, Andrew, you lost that.
Amazon
one.
shit.
You challenged me.
Show me
You're
the
one
numbers.
They lost
challenged
that
me,
one.
sir.
Where's the numbers?
You sold zero goddamn
Numbers
books.
are
Man, what? You saw the numbers?
no.
He
I
pulled
didn't.
the numbers.
I asked you for the sales numbers. How
He
many have you
pulled the
sold?
numbers. Free agent lifestyle for life. Hey, everybody go out by the free agent lifestyle.
Yeah, free
Hold
agent never he doesn't
No,
know how
no,
many
no.
you sold.
I'm higher ranked, man.
So
You seen
what?
it. I got more people. Look,
That doesn't
hey,
mean
Shawn,
shit.
Shawn Michael, hey, you see that? I'm higher ranked.
I'd imagine with the ranking algorithm, sales does play a factor.
Come on, man. We already know that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
What are
But
the
I don't
numbers?
I don't know my numbers. My probably
I
better
know.
than hers, but I know it's better than
Probably
yours.
is though.
That's true.
Right?
I've never
You
written a
got
book.
zero.
I just take the.
I mean, you
I just
come-
take the author's
You come
money.
up with obvious solutions to scenarios that
And you have
anybody
none.
can
You just want
anybody can come up
feminism.
with. I don't have a solution. Free agent lifestyle is a solution.
That's not a solution to
It's
anything.
not. It sure
It's
is.
just degeneracy.
It's a solution that you don't like.
It's just go fuck chicks.
No, that's what you think. All right. It's a solution that you didn't.
How's it
even
going
read
to
the book.
help? How's it going to
How
help
did
with
you-
abortion? How's it going to help with anything?
Well, that's what de-evolution is for. Read my book,
De-evolution?
De-evolution. Go ahead and pull that up. All right. I
How
have a
does
second book,
de-evolution help?
De-evolution. Go ahead and look.
How?
How about you read the book and then come back?
Just
You
tell
didn't
me.
do your research.
How does de-evolution help?
I figured
with
you
abortion?
were a better debater than this.
Can you
and be
answer
more
the question?
prepared. No, be more prepared next time because I don't have time.
You
for
can't
this,
answer
man.
any
Listen,
questions.
But I'm going to sell some books.
Just no
Free Agent
questions
Lifestyle
answered?
and De-Evolution. The link is in the
This-
description
this
box
was
below.
not good, bro, at
All
all.
right. I did my work. I don't have to explain it. I wrote a book. Your job is to do the work. All right. And that's what we
Damn.
teach men to do. It's not about degeneracy. We teach men to do the work and not come up with pie in the sky
be
fantasies
feminist?
that don't work.
To be
All right.
feminist?
The Captain Obvious.
do you know it
your-
doesn't work?
Your solutions are very obvious. Control propaganda. All right. Jesus Christ, man. Look, anybody can
Here's
come
your
up with that.
solution. Do whatever you want. Fuck
The
whoever.
free agent lifestyle. Yeah,
Fuck
baby.
whoever. Just fuck whoever. It's fine. We're not feminists, little
look
guys.
at
Even
that.
though
And it's like you can see the. Look
It's
at that.
control propaganda. All right. Jesus Christ,
Emotional,
man.
like-
Look, anybody can
here's
come
your
up with that.
solution. Do whatever you want. Fuck
The
whoever.
free agent lifestyle. Yeah,
Fuck
baby.
whoever. Just fuck whoever. It's fine. We're not feminists, those guys, even though we have all feminist propositions.
I bet you your wife's body count's higher than yours.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold the train. Stop the train. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We crossed the line. Yeah, we crossed the line.
Yeah, I bet your wife's
bet
body
your
count
wife's
was higher than
That's
yours,
crazy,
dude.
No,
bro.
I'm not married. I'm not married.
This
And
is
your wife,
crazy.
you
You
live
know
in
like
Florida,
that?
I bet you her
He lost the argument. He lost the argument, man.
body count higher than yours.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh,
I
okay.
know
Just
so.
like you know your
And she's a
numbers?
traditional
Just like
conservative.
you know
Yeah,
your
he
numbers,
lost,
guy?
he lost the debate.
I know she'd have
man.
got ran through more times in the
Gotcha.
Holland Tunnel.
So that's it. It's just
Damn,
now
bro.
add
Now
on
we just
about
had
my wife.
Is that what we want to do?
That's where you went.
No, you
Did I
brought
say
her
a
up.
word
I didn't
about
bring up your wife.
Did I say a
I didn't
word
bring up your
about
wife.
your wife?
I don't got one.
Yeah, if you did, do you think I would have?
You brought her up.
I brought my. Did I attack her?
I didn't attack her.
You just said she had a high
bro,
body
oh my
count. You lying
God.
sack of shit. Show me the proof.
I don't have any proof.
Yeah,
She's
you're
a
just making
hey,
shit up.
traditional conservative
You
women.
lost the
Hey,
debate,
listen,
so you went
I
ad
didn't lose the
hom.
debate.
I don't even
You've been
care
losing
at this
debate for a
point.
long time.
Your wife has a high body count.
I bet you she does. That's the
Yeah.
number.
This
What's
is
the
crazy,
proof?
man. This is not okay.
Traditional
bro.
conservative women have higher body counts than men.
She's not
Yeah.
a tradcon, dude. You don't even know what you're
How you-
talking about.
How's she not a tradcon and you married her?
I'm not
She
a
feminist?
tradcon. You didn't
Well,
do
what
your
are you?
homework.
What are you?
I'm a Christian ethicist.
A Christian ethicist.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. And
Very
you
good.
still don't know the
This
numbers
is
how many
so
people
bad.
follow you.
Follow what?
Follow your prescription. your master solution.
No,
No
I
numbers.
literally have
but you're
given you
asking me about numbers,
after
and we pulled the
number
numbers.
after number
Oh,
of
my goodness.
the fact that the
How
traditional
many
churches'
men-
divorces are lower.
We got that, but how many men follow your
We don't know the
prescription?
polling
We
data.
don't know.
We don't need to.
But-
we know that even if they're with the state, it's still lower.
Coach Gang, one in the chat. All right, Coach Gang, one in the chat. You bought the free agent lifestyle, and it helped you. Put a one
This
in the
is
chat.
crazy, bro.
All right. It's been
Okay,
2
I
hours.
think
You guys
this
want
is
to call
it.
it?
Yep.
All right, guys, check them out. That was a fun debate.
Bad moderator, bro. I'm sorry, dude. You just only have a big platform. That's it. This is weak for me. I'm gonna. This is my opinion, but I don't think this is not a representation of a man that you want to be. Right here, this dude right here, he needs to log in. He needs to log in. You shouldn't do this, man. You need to just sometimes just step out to the plate and just take control of the situation. Testosterone's got too high, and he just basically just backed up. Like, I don't know. Maybe there was some rules before the debate started. Maybe they wanted the debate to go like this. But personally, I think this was a waste of time. And then at the end, Andrew and Coach Greg Adams, they got crazy. I mean, that's what I see. That's my opinion. Great opportunity to tackle the problems, tackle main issues, and they couldn't do it, man. They couldn't simply do it. Sad as hell, man. I just want to see what's the comment section here. I'm gonna just like Coach Graham because he provided the content. To be fair, he's right. Secular marriage doesn't work. The moderator could have done a way better job. That's what I said. That's what I said. Greg Adams doesn't want you. Okay, to believe in the Sky Daddy. He wants you to believe in his coaching seminar available for $29.95. Hey, Greg, if you're going to debate anyone, there should be a set of rules which everyone must follow. Be respectful. Be quiet when it's the other person's turn. Answer the question that are asked. Yeah, he missed a great opportunity to do that. The coach burned it. Know this one. The coach burned it. Know this one. He kept on interrupting and just assuming things without even asking. Yeah, it was kind of weak. The pool of women that we have to choose from will not follow religion because this is the time we have to lead, because we're not leading, guys. I'll be honest with you. We're not leading. Men are not leading. We're in a position that because females are acting like this, therefore we have to just follow them because they're acting like that instead of being the other way around. Because right now we're just giving female the most important asset, which is time and attention. We have to go to the other way. We have to go and get better with ourselves. Demand what is best for us, because we have the most important tool, which is force, guys. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. We are the one that are in control, guys. Remember that. We are in control. Problem with this debate is there's no debate here. That's what I said. Andrew's saying marriage work under specific conditions. CGA is saying these specific conditions do not apply. Okay, and then we're stuck in where? Why and how? Why and how? We got stuck there. You're living off your wife, as Andrew has one of the most super chatted and successful channels on the planet. Yeah. This coach. I'm not gonna really go too hard on Coach Greg Adams because he does help guys, right? I'm not gonna bash him. I'm not gonna really bash him bad. Like he does a good job in his own channel. Moderator did not do his job. He didn't. He just sat down and just do anything. He was too scared because the room has too much testosterone. That's what happened. You can tell it. Like, bro, no, you have two very important men talking about men issues. Your job was to basically keep the conversation going. So that was your job. This was embarrassingly hard to watch, as you made an absolute fool of yourself, Coach. Telling Andrew that he only debates OnlyFans girls, then acting like an OnlyFans girls is crazy work. And you know what's crazy? It's hard. You guys have to watch some of these debates in whatever podcast. You know, it's very hard to debate somebody that's gaslighting a lot, and only fangirls are very good at gaslighting. And Andrew is a professional when it comes down to just cut through that and just establish logic. It's not easy to just, because that's why you have a lot of simps. They don't understand the female ontology. So by having some of these folks like Andrew Wilson, you know, Myron Gaines, that they debate a lot of these females, right? They develop a very good arsenal to just go against this gaslighting technique, which you can call even side language as well. I often wonder how people have the nerve to say that they didn't interrupt what they will, while they absolutely were interrupting. Yeah, it's just a lot of people were not good. They didn't like the debate. It's just a great opportunity to just identify some of these problems. Do not debate, coach. You absolutely suck at it. I will say it's important to understand this. If he understood more the debate structure, maybe the outcome could have been much better. But I don't know, man. I just don't know, man. I really don't know. I really don't. Just give me 1 second. I don't know, man. Interesting debates. Two great people debating in the male space. They managed to just have a conversation. What do we learn from this conversation? Seems like they agree in the most important aspects of marriage. The current marriage situation doesn't work. The description is clear, and not only that, we have a problem with divorce. We agree on that. Now, it came down to the prescription were very, very, very different, right? Because before we got to the prescription, Coach Greg Adams says, well, that was his prescription. Do not get married, because if you don't get married, you don't get divorced. In the case of Andrew Wilson, he said, well, not only that, but why not get married without the state? That will automatically what? It will decrease the divorce rate. But even with that, they were having problems to agree on those terms, on those prescriptions. I don't know why we're not touching the idea of just changing the laws. I think that changing the laws is the closest thing that we can do to just change things to the long term. Conversations is a strategy that we can use for the long term. However, as what is now, Coach Greg Adams' prescription seems valid. If you don't get married, you're not going to be divorced. However, you want to have family and you're religious, Andrew Wilson's approach might be the best option for you, right? Maybe the best option for you. Conclusion. We need to change the law. My opinion, we need to change the law. We need to change the cultural landscape as well. We need to ban a lot of stuff. OnlyFans, we need to ban it. We need to ban porn. And I think when it comes down to political achievement, I think getting some of these incentives out of the no-fault divorce is priority number one on this side of the aisle. Keep the no-fault divorce, no problem, but eliminate alimony and child support. Those two. And 50-50 custody out of the bat. Exceptions will be if there's abuse, the person's abused, they don't get access to their kids, or minimal access, or of physical abuse, so emotional and physical abuse, I would say. There you have it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for those that were part of the stream. In the meantime, guys, I'll see you next one.